Chapter 2831. Damn it! Who are you? How dare you meddle in our affairs? Do you want to die? I am Immortal Palace's Li Xuanxian. How dare you attack our palace master? Today will be the day you die. Li Xuanxian's eyes also erupted with a cold light. The blade light on his body became even more terrifying. The flying blade in his hand was like a peerless divine light. He swept his gaze, and those archaic creatures all trembled. It was too terrifying. They cried out in alarm. There was actually such a terrifying person in the human race, injuring 3 archaic princes with a single blade. Who was it? How could Immortal Palace be so terrifying? They were extremely alarmed because if it was a desolate, ancient family or a top holy land with an extreme weapon that made a move, perhaps they could do this. However, they had investigated Immortal Palace before, and there were no great emperors or extreme weapons. In their eyes, it was just an ordinary holy land. How could such a holy land contend against them? But now they realized that they were wrong. The other party casually picked a person, and it was already so terrifying. He injured 3 archaic kings with a single blade. This was unbelievable. Do you think you can contend against the 3 of us? The Silver Lightning Race's archaic king said coldly. The Fire Cloud Race's archaic king also snorted coldly. We were careless just now. Kill him. Don't talk nonsense with him. The Serene Feather Race's archaic king directly spread his wings, covering the sky. The entire sky turned into night. It was pitch black, and one couldn't even see their own fingers. The 3 archaic kings charged forward, their terrifying auras vast and mighty between heaven and earth. Countless cracks appeared on the array formation below. The surrounding people fled crazily, because if they didn't escape, they would probably be crushed into a bloody mist by the aura. Buzz between heaven and earth, a blade light lit up, turning into an eternal divine light that shone in the night, illuminating the darkness as if it was daytime. A blade flew out, and the Serene Feather Race's archaic king was sent flying, his shoulder struck by the blade. Blood spurted out crazily, and his entire right arm was cut off. Kill! Ah! Miserable screams and angry roars sounded. The 3 archaic kings attacked crazily. The entire world collapsed quickly. On the other side, Li Xuanhuan's flying blade flew out from time to time, and blood splattered everywhere. However, the 3 primordial kings were also very powerful. Therefore, Li Xuanxian was unable to kill them in a short period of time. On the contrary, the 3 Archean kings became fiercer and fiercer as they fought. They even wanted to suppress Li Xuanxian. This scene caused everyone's hearts to jump out of their chests. The ancient race beings roared out in anger. Kill him! Kill the human! Yes, let the human race bleed like a river. They were simply too infuriated. There was actually someone who dared to fight against the 10,000 ancient races. That person truly didn't know the meaning of death. On the other side, Lin Xian's expression was cold. Although Li Xuanxian was strong, he was still worried. After all, 1 versus 3. Moreover, there were 3 Holy Lord-level archaic kings. It was simply too difficult. Boom! The sky was torn apart, and the earth split apart. Another palm reached out, carrying terrifying chains of laws, slamming into the bodies of the 3 archaic kings. The 3 of them were sent flying. These 3 powerful Archean kings suppressed an area and swept through the 8 Desolaces. But at this moment, in front of this palm, he was like a fly, unable to resist at all. A sage! A sage has made his move! The human warriors screamed. The ancient creatures prostrated themselves on the ground, their bodies trembling. Which race's sage was this? A clan of the ancients? A peerless holy land? They didn't know. A cold voice came from the palm in the sky. This time, I'm giving you a warning. If you dare to secretly attack again and bully the younger generation, I'll directly kill you. The cold voice echoed throughout the 9 heavens and 10 lands, causing the ancient creatures' scalps to tingle. These human prodigies heaved a sigh of relief. Great, a human sage had stood up for them. This way, their safety would be guaranteed in the future. That archaic king was sent flying, his body splitting apart. Buzz! They regrouped in the distance, their faces pale and filled with fear. No matter how strong they were only invincible kings. On the other hand, the other party was a sage who could crush them with a single finger. Hence, in this aspect, they had no ability to resist at all. But they still roared crazily. Damn it, do you really think that the 10,000 ancient races don't have sages? When the sages of the 10,000 ancient races come out, they will definitely slaughter you. They were mad with anger. The sage in the sky coldly snorted. Why, are you feeling very aggrieved? Are you feeling helpless? When you attacked the human prodigies, did you think about it? I'll let you feel what it's like to be bullied by the older generation. Hearing those words, Lin Xian chuckled out, giving him a taste of his own medicine. What a slap to his face! The three archaic kings were so angry that they vomited blood. They were too aggrieved. They originally wanted to rely on their powerful advantage to suppress the other party. But they didn't expect that a human sage would jump out and use the same method to deal with them. This made them unable to resist at all, and they were about to cry from anger. In the sky, the sage spoke again. As for the sage of the 10,000 ancient races, if he wants to revive, tell him to come find me directly. I'll wait for him in the extraterritorial battlefield. At this point, terrifying Tao runes and divine chains danced wildly in the sky, emitting a terrifying sage aura. The 10,000 ancient races couldn't raise their heads at all. In the next moment, the void was torn apart, forming a terrifying spatial black hole that directly swallowed the 10,000 ancient races. Scram! The human sage coldly snorted and sent the 10,000 ancient races prodigies and experts flying. Caw, caw, caw in the sky. The terrifying large crack healed, and the 10,000 ancient races prodigies had long disappeared. The Tao runes and divine chains that filled the sky had also disappeared without a trace. It was as if the previous scene was a dream. However, these human race cultivators knew that it wasn't a dream. The sage had really appeared. That's great. The cultivators of Immortal Palace heaved a sigh of relief, and the others also discussed spiritedly. Lin Xian also revealed a cold smile, and his eyes shone with a biting cold light. Although the three archaic kings had been sent flying, this matter wouldn't end like this. As long as he saw the prodigies of the Fire Cloud race, Silver Lightning race, and Dark Feather race, he definitely wouldn't let any of them off. This was the outcome of the other party daring to kill him. In fact, Lin Xian directly said that he would offer a high reward for the whereabouts of the Silver Lightning race, Fire Cloud race, and Dark Feather race's prodigies. Those who provided information would each receive a divine crystal. As soon as these words came out, the surrounding cultivators were shocked. It seemed that Lin Xian was determined to fight to the death with the 10,000 ancient races. This news swept out like a gale, and the world was instantly in an uproar. The 5 continents of the true spirit world were discussing spiritedly. The sacred leaders, sect masters, and grand elders were also shocked. Even the sage had made a move. Things seemed to be getting more and more intense. Sure enough, the 10,000 ancient races were incomparably furious, especially the Silver Lightning race, Fire Cloud race, and Dark Feather race. Even their sage had awakened and come to the extraterritorial battlefield. Chapter 2832. However, there was no more news after that. Some people said that the entire outer realm had been destroyed, and sage blood had dyed the sky red. Later on, the Silver Lightning race, Fire Cloud race, and Serene Feather race fell silent. They didn't do anything. Everyone was stunned. Could it be that the 3 ancient races had suffered a loss? This was truly shocking. Just which power was it that did this? Was it the clan of the ancients? Or the other top sacred grounds? Who was it? Who was it? No one knew. But before long, the various clan of the ancients, as well as the top sacred grounds and sects, joined forces and made a statement. The older generation wasn't allowed to interfere in the battle between the younger generation, regardless of life or death. No assassinations were allowed. That was the rule. Once discovered, the human race would join forces with all the clan of the ancients, sects, and sacred grounds to hunt them down. They wouldn't rest until they were dead. The world was in an uproar. No one had expected the various sacred grounds and clan of the ancients to be so aggressive. Actually, it made sense. Most of the human race's chosens and geniuses had been suppressed to the point of being unable to raise their heads. However, there were a few that had risen like comets. Even in the face of the ancient royals, they still shone brightly. These people were the top geniuses of the clan of the ancients. They were the future hope of the clan of the ancients and the top sacred grounds. And these clan of the ancients and sacred grounds had supreme weapons. It could be said that they were extremely confident. Naturally, they didn't want their legacies to be destroyed. That was why they had joined forces to make such a statement. It was to prevent something similar from happening again. Otherwise, if Yi Wu Dao and the others died, the Yi family and other factions wouldn't be able to take it. The 10,000 ancient races also agreed to this suggestion and rule. After all, they didn't want their geniuses to be ambushed by the human race's sages, sect masters, and sacred lords. In this way, there would be endless assassinations. Therefore, they decided to abide by the rule and let the younger generation deal with it. Although Lin Xian had defeated the Southern Sea crocodile god, they didn't think it was a big deal. After all, there were many clan of the ancient royals who were stronger than the Southern Sea crocodile god. Moreover, the one who had attacked this time wasn't the strongest clan of the Southern Sea crocodile god. Therefore, Lin Xian's victory didn't mean that the 10,000 ancient races had lost. Moreover, there was the royal family of the clan of the 10,000 ancient races. But the princes and princesses had yet to appear. Once such a character appeared, he would definitely be able to sweep through the world and suppress the 8 desolations. In a desperate situation, several figures of Taiga stood there. They were old, their faces were deep, and their eyes shone like stars. The aura emanating from his body was like a sea of smoke. One of the elderly men snorted out coldly. Damn these humans! To think that they would join forces to issue such a warning. Were they trying to threaten them? Ignore them. This rule may not be a bad thing for us. In this way, the safety of the younger generation is guaranteed. Don't worry. The humans won't be arrogant for much longer. Our plan will be implemented soon. At that time, the 10,000 ancient races will join forces. How can the human race be arrogant then? He was afraid that he could only crawl on the ground. The whole land will be ours. These people laughed sinisterly. It was obvious that they had already begun to carry out their secret plan. Presumably, it wouldn't be long before they started a direct conflict with the human race. Not long after, a piece of news appeared. The human race was stunned. Even the Archean prodigies and top human geniuses stopped fighting. Lin Xian didn't continue fighting either. After hearing this news, he fell silent. The crimson dragon at the side screamed. Damn, they really came out. What kind of terrifying existence was in the nest of 10,000 dragons? That's right. This shocking news was that the 10,000 dragons' annihilation had appeared. The revival of the dragon race in the nest of 10,000 dragons was no longer a secret. However, they had never appeared outside. They were only active in the nest of 10,000 dragons. But now they had finally appeared. The nest of 10,000 dragons split open and a huge dragon rushed out, roaring in the void. His body was 100,000 feet long, like a mountain range crushing the void. A terrifying dragon might filled the world, and the entire middle ground could hear the loud dragon roar. At this moment, countless people raised their heads to look at the sky in shock. Dragon! It was a dragon! The legendary dragon had finally appeared. This shocked everyone. The creatures of the 10,000 ancient races also prostrated on the ground and bowed in worship. The nest of 10,000 dragons, the dragon race, was one of the ancient royal families. It was extremely terrifying. Even the ancient royal families had to be respectful when they saw it. The impact of the dragon race's appearance was too great, not to mention the younger generation. Even the elders, sacred leaders, and sect masters of the older generation had worried looks on their faces. The appearance of the ancient royal family was already a headache for them. But now, even a royal family like the dragon race had appeared. They were an even more terrifying existence. Their foundation and strength were not inferior to the ancient families. In fact, they were even more terrifying than the ancient families, because it was rumored that there was an emperor-level existence in the dragon race. That was the son of a great emperor. How terrifying would his bloodline power be? They didn't dare to imagine. Once he appeared, he would probably be able to dominate the world. The son of a great emperor? Everyone was shocked. That was the son of a great emperor. Heavens, there was actually a terrifying existence like the son of a great emperor in this world. There was probably no hope for others to become a great emperor. That's right, the dragon race was originally a royal family. The power of their bloodline was unique and could crush everything. Now that there was a son of a great emperor, he was probably the one with the most hope of becoming a great emperor. Discussions and exclamations sounded one after another. The faces of the saints and geniuses were filled with despair. Why were they in the same era as the emperor? This was a great tragedy. Even Lin Xian, Yi Wudao Wuqin, and the others had solemn expressions. Emperor's son. These two words were like a mountain in front of them, making it difficult for them to breathe. Humph. So what if he's the emperor's son? Let me see how terrifying the descendant of a great emperor's son is. Lin Xian gripped his sword tightly, and a piercing light burst out from his eyes. Yi Wudao also stood out. His sacred physique was released, and his golden blood surged. His eyes were also filled with fighting spirit. To others, this was the worst era, but to them, this might be the best era. Because being able to fight with a genius like the emperor's son was not something that every generation's genius could encounter. However, after the nest of 10,000 dragons appeared in the world, it did something that no one expected. Even those people were dumbfounded, because the nest of 10,000 dragons had issued an order. It was a very strange order. Capture Lin Xian. As soon as this order was issued, the world was stunned. Those people were extremely shocked and couldn't believe it. Even the archaic creatures were stunned. Lin Xian, the nest of 10,000 dragons, actually wanted to kill Lin Xian? How was that possible? Did Lin Xian offend the dragon race of the nest of 10,000 dragons? Even Lin Xian was stunned. Chapter 28:33. Although he had entered and killed the creatures inside, even splitting open the nest of 10,000 dragons with a single sword strike. But even if the nest of 10,000 dragons wanted revenge, they shouldn't be looking for him. So many sacred leaders and sect masters had taken action. So why did they only target him? Moreover, they had issued such a primordial token. One had to know that once the dragon race primordial token was issued, no one in the world would dare to disobey. Most likely, those ancient life forms would go crazy and hunt him down. After the Crimson Dragon received this news, his face darkened. Kid, be careful. Things aren't that simple. I guess they should have seen through your trump card. They might know that the dragon-shaped sword shadow you used is the great dragon's sword soul. If that's the case, then things are dangerous. At this point, the Crimson Dragon's expression was extremely solemn. Lin Xian frowned when he heard this. It couldn't be. Had his final secret been seen through? To be honest, other than the Crimson Dragon, Lord Alcohol, and Xiajiao, no one knew that he used the great dragon sword soul. This was his biggest secret, but now the dragon race in the nest of 10,000 dragons had actually seen through his secret. This shocked him greatly. If this secret was leaked, everyone in the world would probably target him. I guess it should be close to the truth. The Crimson Dragon said again. After all, the great dragon sword soul contained the dragon soul. As the dragon race, the nest of 10,000 dragons had many powerhouses. They must have sensed it. When they think of your super powerful attack power, they might be able to guess it. So this was the case. Lin Xian took a deep breath. It seemed that he had to prepare for the worst. However, he guessed that even if these people in the nest of 10,000 dragons knew that he had the great dragon sword soul, they probably wouldn't say it out loud. Instead, they would capture him secretly. Otherwise, if the news were to spread, there would definitely be people fighting with the nest of 10,000 dragons. At that time, the nest of 10,000 dragons might not be able to obtain the great dragon sword soul. His guess was right. The 10,000 dragons' annihilation didn't explain the reason. Instead, they sent a few powerhouses of the dragon race to secretly set off to capture Lin Xian. Of course, they didn't send any older powerhouses either. After all, the human race and the 10,000 ancient races had just reached an agreement. 5 days later, Lin Xian stopped in a mountain range. There was a figure standing in front of him, a figure with dragon scales on his body, an expert of the dragon clan. Lin Xian furrowed his brows and his face darkened. He didn't expect the other party to come so quickly. He was able to lock onto his aura so quickly. In front of him, the figure stood in the void, his entire body covered in flashing purple scales. Even his eyes were purple. His cold eyes stared at Lin Xian. "You're that kid?" Sure enough, he had the aura of a dragon soul. Come to think of it, the great dragon sword soul in your body. Lin Xian's pupils shrank when he heard the other party's words. Sure enough, the other party had seen through his trump card. He didn't say anything, and his body emitted a fierce aura, ready to attack at any moment. The expert from the dragon race sneered coldly. "My guess is right. However, a human trash like you actually has the great dragon sword soul. This is really hard to believe. Damned ant, obediently hand over the great dragon sword soul, and I can give you a quick death. You don't deserve to have the great dragon sword soul. Only the dragon clan is worthy of having such an offensive saint technique." A fiery light appeared in his eyes. He had no choice. The great dragon sword soul was the strongest thing in terms of offensive power. Even the dragon clan would be ecstatic after hearing about it. How could he not be moved? "If you want my great dragon sword soul, let's see if you have the strength." Lin Xian snorted coldly, his face incomparably gloomy. The sword chi on his body became more and more piercing, forming a sword diagram that shone in the sky. Then it suppressed towards the front. Facing the dragon clan expert, Lin Xian took the initiative to attack. "How dare you attack me? You really don't know what's good for you." The dragon clan expert snorted. "Kid, although you have the great dragon sword soul, you're still too inexperienced. We're both young geniuses. I only need one palm to kill you." The dragon clan genius was very arrogant. He was not an expert of the older generation, but a young genius who had just recovered and was extremely powerful. Although he had not heard any legends about Lin Xian these days, he had even heard that Lin Xian had defeated the Southern Sea crocodile god, a genius. But he did not care. That was because the Southern Sea crocodile god was only a member of the royal clan, while he was from the dragon clan. The dragon clan was much stronger than those royal clans. He could easily crush his opponent. A palm slapped out, bringing with it an incomparably terrifying power that could destroy everything, and it descended from the sky. This scene made Lin Xian frown. His opponent was indeed very strong, and he was ridiculously strong. He had never seen a young man with such means. It was just a casual attack, but it was mysterious and unfathomable with supreme magical powers. The dragon clan was indeed worthy of being a member of the far ancient royal clan. He was indeed too strong. However, he was no longer afraid. With a snort, the great dragon's sword soul swung a golden fist forward. Kill! Lin Xian roared. His black hair danced wildly as he quickly charged forward. Facing the Dragon Clan genius, he was not afraid. He was only excited, and his blood was boiling. He was too excited to be able to fight with such an expert. Boom! The fist and palm collided, causing a violent shockwave in the sky. The space within hundreds of thousands of miles was quickly torn apart, and there was not a single place that was intact. After that attack, the two of them retreated 3,000 miles and stopped. The light in Lin Xian's eyes became even more terrifying. On the other side, the Dragon Clan genius frowned. A look of disbelief appeared in his eyes. He blocked it. How was that possible? How could his opponent block it? It was really surprising. One had to know that even the far ancient royal clan genius could not block his palm, but his opponent blocked it. Could this be the power of the great dragon sword soul? Thinking of this, his eyes lit up. He had to admit that the great dragon sword soul was really powerful. It could make a human ant like you be compared to me. To be honest, he did not take anyone seriously at all. He had only heard of those battles and did not see it with his own eyes. As far as he was concerned, humans were nothing more than ants and slaves. Their dragon clan was the true supreme existence that stood high above the masses. As a member of the dragon clan, he naturally did not take everything seriously. Now that there was someone who could fight against him, he naturally did not think that this was the other party's true ability. Lin Xian did not say anything. His face was gloomy, and the power in his body erupted once again. It was like a sea of stars surging into the 9 heavens. This time he was going to use his strength to tell the other party that he, Lin Xian, was not to be trifled with. No one could have any ideas about him. Kill! With another roar, Lin Xian held the ancient dragon abyss sword and charged forward. Chapter 2834. Accompanied by his sword technique and the terrifying 9 suns' divine fire, the entire world trembled. One sword strike after another. Every sword strike could destroy the stars and shatter the earth. Despicable ant, die for me. On the other side, the dragon race cultivator's face was gloomy. His hands quickly formed seals, and the dragon blood in his body kept surging. He struck out with an extremely terrifying palm technique. Terrifying energy surged, and a huge explosion occurred in the void. Heaven and earth collapsed, and the sky was beaten into nothingness. This battle was too shocking. Terrifying energy spread in all directions, so much so that the people in the distance were terrified. Damn it, there was an apocalyptic battle. Who was it? Could it be that 2 sacred lords were fighting? No, it shouldn't be a sacred lord. It should be an expert of the younger generation. What expert of the younger generation? This power was too terrifying. Could it be Lin Xian, Yi Wudao, and the others? Heavens! Could it be that they were fighting with the immemorial king again? Let's go and take a look. Many people soared into the sky. They were too shocked. They hadn't received any news recently. One had to know that every time a human prodigy and an immemorial prodigy fought, the news would be released in advance, attracting countless people to watch. But this time they didn't find any news. Therefore, they were very surprised. On the other side, Lin Xian's body was surrounded by sword light, and he was also shocked. He realized that the other party was very strong, even stronger than the Southern Sea crocodile god. And the other party was just a young man who walked out of the nest of 10,000 dragons. This was too shocking. Roar! On the other side, the dragon race cultivator roared and waved his fist, smashing over again. Punch after punch. The entire sky was torn apart. It was impossible to resist. Lin Xian felt a great pressure, as if he was facing the divine fist of a god. Humph! He snorted coldly, and his expression was incomparably cold. The dragon sword soul in his body instantly surged, and with an extremely terrifying dragon roar, the terrifying sword Qi turned into a vast ocean that roared in the sky. "You're still too inexperienced to use the dragon soul in front of me," the dragon race cultivator sneered. He was a true descendant of the dragon race. The dragon blood in his body was so pure, yet the other party actually dared to display such a dragon aura in front of him. In his eyes, this was simply laughable. In the next moment, the dragon blood in his body surged, and he also transformed into the shadow of a true dragon and rushed out. Boom! Boom! Terrifying power and shock waves. The two dragon shadows collided in the sky, creating a shocking sound of thunder. Between heaven and earth, tens of thousands of lightning bolts descended, shattering the void. In the distance, the people who had flown over were stunned when they saw the scene. What a terrifying aura! Even though they were separated by hundreds of thousands of miles, their bodies started to tremble. Those two dragon silhouettes in the distance were seriously too terrifying, making them extremely alarmed. Could it be that the dragon race of the nest of 10,000 dragons had made a move? That was very likely. Otherwise, who else could release such a dragon aura? But that's not right. Who are the people from the nest of 10,000 dragons fighting with? The other party also had such a terrifying dragon soul. Could it be that there was a civil war in the nest of 10,000 dragons? No, it was Lin Xian. Look at the other dragon's shadow. It's formed by sword Qi. This was definitely something that only Lin Xian could do. His sword Qi was incomparably terrifying. Some of the peerless experts recognized this. The others were extremely shocked. Lin Xian was actually fighting with the dragon race of the nest of 10,000 dragons. Heavens, this was too unbelievable. Was Lin Xian trying to defy the heavens? Buzz! Suddenly, they closed their eyes and retreated frantically. Some people's eyes were bleeding because there was a peerless sword light in front of them. It was too resplendent and terrifying. This sword light was sent out by Lin Xian. He didn't intend to hesitate any longer and drag out the battle. Hence, he sent out his strongest attack. This sword energy, the great dragon's sword soul, roared and transformed into a huge dragon that descended from the sky. It directly split the other party's dragon shadow apart. Not only that, this sword strike struck the body of the other party's dragon race warrior. Pooh! That dragon race warrior vomited blood and flew backward. A terrifying crack was torn open on his body. Dragon blood surged, dyeing the void red. A drop of dragon blood crushed countless mountain peaks and sank the ground. That dragon race warrior was extremely shocked. Damn it, this was impossible. How could you injure me? He was too shocked. He was from the dragon race. He was a high and mighty member of the royal family. He could look down on everything. Even the ancient royal family didn't dare to be rude to him. But now a human, an ant, actually injured him. This was hard for him to accept. Ah, damn it, roaming dragon, go to hell. This dragon race warrior roared angrily. The dragon blood on his body surged and enveloped him. In the next moment, his body quickly enlarged and turned into a huge purple dragon that rushed over. This huge dragon was 7,000 meters long and was extremely terrifying. With a roar, it directly crashed towards Lin Xian, wanting to tear him apart. Buzz! It was over. Another sword strike. Lin Xian held the dragon's sword shadow and became one with the sword. He turned into an eternal ray of light and rushed out. This sword pierced into the huge purple dragon's mouth. Puff, puff, puff. The huge purple dragon's body quickly split into two halves. Lin Xian rushed out from the dragon's tail. In the sky, the huge purple dragon that was thousands of meters long suddenly tore open. Countless amounts of blood dyed the void red. That huge body smashed down, completely shattering the ground. Roar! The huge dragon roared crazily. The two halves of the corpse wanted to heal. However, The sharpness of the dragon sword soul and the inextinguishable sword intent made it impossible for even a dragon race warrior to heal. Damn it! The purple dragon race warrior roared angrily. His soul flew out, wanting to wrap around the corpse and leave. However, he was directly sent, flying by Lin Xian. Lin Xian used the heavenly secret divine eyes. In the sky, a pair of golden eyes appeared and looked down. The purple dragon race warrior's soul trembled, and a trace of fear appeared. Damn it, how was this possible? What were these golden eyes? Why could even he feel a sense of fear in his soul? One had to know that he was a dragon soul. Who could suppress him in terms of soul? He didn't dare to believe it. However, the golden eye in the sky had managed to do that. In the next moment, he screamed in horror, because the golden runes in the golden eyes turned into a golden vortex, forming a force that sucked him in. The purple dragon's soul wanted to break free, but it couldn't do so. In an instant, he was sucked in by the golden eyes. Lin Xian formed a seal with his palm, and the golden eyes in the sky disappeared. The corner of his mouth raised into a cold smile. In the next moment, his body swayed. His sleeves rolled up the two halves of the huge dragon's corpse on the ground and disappeared into the void. The people in the distance were extremely shocked. The battle was over. Where was the dragon race warrior? Could it be that he was killed? Heavens, it can't be. Lin Xian defeated the dragon race warrior? And he even killed the other party? These people were extremely shocked. Chapter 28:35. They felt that it was unlikely. 10,000 dragons suppressing the dragon clan. That was a legendary existence. It was even more terrifying than the ancient royal family. Anyone who walked out of it could wipe out a bunch of them. But now, it was actually killed by Lin Xian. Their faces were filled with disbelief as they quickly flew forward, wanting to investigate. When they arrived in front and saw the ground full of wounds and the terrifying stench of blood, they were all stunned. This battle was truly too bitter. Just the remnant auras on the surface were enough to cause them to be extremely alarmed. However, they saw some bloodstains and cracks in the ground, but they didn't see any corpses. Therefore, they couldn't be sure if the dragon clan members had been killed. They couldn't be sure if Lin Xian had been killed instead. All of this will be yours. However, this news quickly spread. After all, the battle between Lin Xian and the Dragon Clan warriors was too shocking. On the other side, Lin Xian left the mountain range and came to the sky. He entered the black earth. With a wave of his sleeve, the terrifying dragon corpse also appeared. Fortunately, the black earth could transform into a huge spirit boat. Lin Xian had also turned the giant dragon's corpse into a small mountain. Only then was it able to fit inside. The crimson dragon looked at the purple dragon corpse and drooled. Damn it, eat it. When Lin Xian heard this, the corner of his mouth twitched and his eyes widened. You want to eat it? It's your own kind. What kind? I'm from the Divine Dragon Clan. He's just an ordinary dragon. He's much more humble. I'm already giving him a lot of face by eating it. The crimson dragon snorted coldly. Besides, he wants to kill us. So what if I eat him? All right. Lin Xian nodded. He hadn't tasted dragon meat yet. Oh, right. Use that formation of yours again. This time, you'll get a lot of dragon blood. Lin Xian was looking forward to it. After all, this thing could increase the power of his 9-yang divine body and dragon sword soul. He naturally didn't want to miss it. The crimson dragon said, "Don't worry." Lin Xian narrowed his eyes as he stared at the gigantic dragon's corpse. How boring would it be if only the two of us ate it? Tell Hui Dao and the others to send a message to Qing Qing and Chou'er. It would be best to call Yi Wu Dao Gu Santong and the others over so they could eat together. Good idea. The crimson dragon's eyes lit up, revealing a trace of a smile. Boy, I find that you are too bad. What's wrong? Lin Xian pursed his lips. The crimson dragon smirked. You're trying to drag them all down with you. All right, you don't have to say it. I understand. I'll use the array formation to send them a message. The Crimson Dragon chuckled. Lin Xian's eyes flashed. It was just some dragon meat, so of course everyone had to enjoy it together. Soon after, those people heard the news. They opened the space gates and directly teleported away. In a spiritual vein, the Crimson Dragon laid down a peerless formation to isolate the aura. He waited outside the formation. Soon, the sky was torn apart, and one figure after another descended. Some are golden like blood, some are whistling like phoenixes, and some are purple from the east. They were Yi Wu Dao, Morong Qingqing, Shen Jingqiu, and the others. Of course, not only the three of them, but Gu Santong Wu Hua, Hu Yidao, and Peacock also came. Hu Yidao and the others were from the Immortal Palace. Lin Xian naturally would not treat them unfairly. As for the others, they were all top-notch peerless geniuses. Big Brother Lin Xian, Big Brother Xian. Shen Jingqiu and Morong Qingqing walked over, and Lin Xian hugged them. Brother Lin, why did you call us here? I heard there's something good? Yi Wu Dao was a little confused, and Gu Santong's eyes flashed. Could there be something good for them to see? Wu Hua was also looking forward to it. Lin Xian looked at them with a smile. There must be something good. But he looked at Wu Hua and scratched his head. Well, do you want to break your vow today? Break the vow? Wu Hua was stunned. Brother Lin, don't joke around. You're not going to introduce me to a peerless beauty, are you? Hearing this, Gu Santong and Yi Wu Dao laughed loudly. Hu Yidao and the others also laughed. Morong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu asked curiously, Brother Lin Xian, are you really going to introduce a peerless beauty to this monk? Wu Hua quickly shook his head. Brother Lin, forget it. I'm a monk. You should enjoy this good thing yourself. You can give it to Brother Yi or Brother Gu. Wu Hua shook his head. He did not care about beautiful women. Lin Xian smiled. Don't worry, it's not a beauty, but it's something else. Don't be anxious. Go in and take a look. Lin Xian smiled mysteriously. This made the others even more excited. Come in. Lin Xian waved his hand, and the Crimson Dragon next to him tore open the array. Immediately, a group of people walked in. Then, the array closed, forming a cloud that covered the heavens. No one knew that the top geniuses were gathered here. Brother Lin, what is this? That's right, Brother Xian. These people entered and were even more confused. This was a spirit vein, and the surrounding spirit qi was dense. However, they did not find any treasures. Could it be below? They looked carefully. Lin Xian smiled. He waved his hand, and a purple hill appeared in front of them. A terrifying aura was emitted from the hill. Buzz, when the aura was emitted, the surrounding space collapsed and the ground cracked. The spirit qi in the surroundings gathered crazily, forming tornadoes. Yi Wu Dao, Gu Santong Wu Hua, and the others were also shocked. During the meeting, Peacock and the others were breathing heavily. Even Morong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu were shocked. Big Brother Lin Xian, what is this? Is it a monster? Shen Jingqiu's face turned pale, and Morong Qingqing's blood vessels roared to resist the aura. In the next moment, they were shocked. What is this? Could it be? They were stunned, because they had already noticed the hill in front of them. It was not a hill, but a dragon that was circling there. However, its size was too huge. It looked like a mountain. A dragon, and it's the corpse of a dragon. The top geniuses were breathing heavily. They widened their eyes and looked at Lin Xian. Brother Lin, where did you get this thing? Yes, did you pull it out from the nest of 10,000 dragons? Gu Santong Wu Hua and the others were shocked. Lin Xian smiled. Of course it's something. What, you killed it? You killed a dragon. They were even more shocked. Morong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu were nervous. Big Brother Lin Xian, you're not injured, are you? They had no idea that Lin Xian was fighting with the dragon race. Now they were very nervous. They were worried about Lin Xian. Is he injured? This guy shouldn't be a peerless genius from the nest of 10,000 dragons. He's just an ordinary dragon. His strength is stronger than the average archaic prodigy, but not to the point of being heaven-defying. Therefore, he can't threaten me. Lin Xian said simply, then looked around. How about it? Are you interested in tasting it? Chapter 2836. What? You want to eat dragon meat? Hui Dao and the others shrieked. Even Yi Wu Dao and Gu Santong's pupils constricted. On the side, Morong Qingqing and Xin Jingqiu were also astonished. Wu Hua laughed bitterly. He finally understood why Lin Xian had said that he might have to break his vow this time. It was not for beauties, but for meat. But soon Wu Hua smiled. Brother Lin, it seems that you don't know that the Western Desert is different from the Buddhist sects of the mortal world. We don't forbid such things. You know, there are some powerful monster kings whose flesh is filled with power that we use. So even if I eat dragon meat, it's not considered breaking my vow. Lin Xian was stunned by Wu Hua's words. Since there was such a thing, this was even better. How about it? Do you want to eat? Good. If that's the case, I won't hold back. Gu Santong's eyes lit up and Yi Wu Dao nodded. To be honest, he had never eaten dragon meat before. How could he not be excited to eat it for the first time? After all, it was a legendary thing. All right, hurry up. Ben Huang couldn't wait any longer. The Crimson Dragon conjured a large cauldron and placed it on the ground. Everyone was stunned. Is this guy going to eat too? Xin Jingqiu exclaimed. Morong Qingqing and Yi Wu Dao's mouths twitched. The Crimson Dragon rolled its eyes impatiently. What's with your expressions? Why can't Ben Huang eat it? Damn, this guy is our enemy. He wants to kill me. Why can't I eat him? You're making a fuss out of nothing. He snorted coldly. His face darkened, and he started lighting a fire. I'm on my side. Whitey also jumped out. Its big eyes narrowed into crescents. Let's do it. Lin Xian, Yi Wu Dao, and the others waved the dragon carcass. Soon, a fragrant aroma wafted out. They sat together. Ha! Ben Huang can't wait any longer. The Crimson Dragon was the first to reach out. With a wave of its dragon claw, it tore off the cooked meat. The piece of meat was sparkling and translucent, emitting dense spiritual energy. It was even more terrifying than the spiritual energy in the spirit vein. The Crimson Dragon did not hesitate and bit down. The next moment he screamed. Oh, it feels so good. The dragon blood in his body boiled, releasing rumbling sounds. It was like a furnace of heaven and earth, roaring nonstop. Awesome, it was just too awesome. There was simply too much energy contained within. The Crimson Dragon kept roaring. Hearing this, Lin Xian, Morong Qingqing, Shen Jingqiu, and the others all took a bite. In the next moment, their bodies also rumbled. Their pores opened up, and streams of spirit qi came out of them. This power was simply too overwhelming. It was as if he had eaten a divine crystal. Little White also took a bite, and immediately became lively and lively. Whoa! Their eyes were burning with passion as they quickly waved their chopsticks. Soon, a dragon that was thousands of meters long was eaten up by them. In the end, they even drank the soup. Awesome, it was simply too awesome. I feel like I'm about to break through. My cultivation base has also grown. The few of them exclaimed. It was too terrifying. A dragon could make them have such a reaction. As expected of the dragon race, the power and bloodline it contained were simply too terrifying. Don't waste it, hurry up and cultivate. Lin Xian and the others sat down cross-legged and began to cultivate, completely refining the energy in their bodies. 5 days later, they opened their eyes. Brother Lin, be careful. The nest of 10,000 dragons wants to capture you. I'm afraid there will be a lot of trouble in the future. Yes, if you need us, just say the word. Yi Wu Dao Gu Santong Wu Hua and the other said. Lin Xian nodded. Don't worry, if I need you, I won't be polite. However, you guys have to be careful too. When the dragon race appears, in addition to capturing me, their prodigies will also appear. When that time comes, there will be a huge battle. Hearing this, Yi Wudao and the others looked solemn. Morong Qingqing and Shun Jingqiu's eyes also flickered. Lin Xian was right. Was the royal family about to appear? They wondered if other royal families would appear besides the 10,000 dragons' annihilation. Finally, Yi Wudao spoke and told them a piece of news. Everyone be careful. When you return, inform the sacred leader and the sect leader. Our Yi family has received news that the revival of the 10,000 ancient races this time is not simple. It's not just the younger generation that is challenging. They might cause a huge commotion in the near future. When that time comes, it will be a disaster for the entire human race. Hearing this, everyone's expression changed. Lin Xian asked in a deep voice, Is there any accurate news? Yi Wudao nodded. Because in the past few days, the Yi family's patriarch and several grand elders have been gathering resources nonstop. Moreover, they're about to take out their extreme weapons. If the situation changes, they will directly take out their extreme weapons. In fact, some peerless experts have even come to the Yi family and invited the grand elders to go out and find a treasure to intimidate the 10,000 ancient races. It seems that chaos is about to happen. Lin Xian also took a deep breath. In this chaotic world, only the strong could survive. The others naturally understood this principle, so they discussed for a while, left each other a transmission array, and then left. Qingcheng, Qiu, where are you two going? Lin Xian asked. Brother Xian, I'm going to go back and cultivate. Brother Lin Xian, I also want to go back and cultivate. I promise I won't be a burden to you. Xin Jingqiu waved her pink fists. All right. Lin Xian hugged the two of them. If there's any danger or something, you must tell me. In the end, Morong Qingqing and Shun Jingqiu left hand in hand. As for Lin Xian, he also left. After going out, Lin Xian received the news and was shocked, because he realized that the dragon race was completely enraged. There was nothing he could do about it. The news of him killing a dragon still spread. The nest of 10,000 dragons was completely enraged. They swore to capture him and order all the races in the world to capture him together. It directly caused a huge commotion. Countless primordial geniuses came out one after another, wanting to capture Lin Xian. On the other side, in a mysterious mountain range, a blue-robed man and that strange head also came up with a plan. They felt that they should add fuel to the fire and let the human race join forces to kill Lin Xian. After all, Lin Xian was too strong. He had two supreme treasures. Such a person would definitely be a powerful enemy on the road to becoming a great emperor in the future. Therefore, they decided to join forces to get rid of him now. Of course, they wouldn't make a move. Instead, they released a piece of news. This news was guessed by the mysterious blue-robed man. He wasn't 100% sure, but now it was no longer important. As long as this news was out, even if those people didn't believe it, they would capture Lin Xian and investigate. Chapter 2837. This piece of news was that Lin Xian possessed the great dragon sword soul. As soon as this news came out, the world was in an uproar and instantly swept across the entire continent. What? Great dragon sword soul? Are you talking about the one with the highest attack power in the world? No wonder. I thought that there was something wrong with that dragon-shaped sword shadow. I didn't expect it to be the legendary Great Dragon Sword Soul. Oh my God, no way, this can't be true, right? Lin Xian actually had such a treasure. No wonder he was so powerful. That was left behind by the Shimin Great Emperor. Everyone was stunned. The entire human race was in an uproar. On the other side, the 10,000 ancient races were also in an uproar. They didn't expect that the other party would have such a treasure in his hands. The dragon race powerhouses in the nest of 10,000 dragons roared angrily. Damn it, who was it? Who leaked the news? Investigate, you must find out for me. Tear him into pieces. They were too angry because they also knew that the other party had it. However, they didn't want to make it public. Instead, they planned to quietly capture the other party and bring him back to obtain the great dragon's sword soul. Their dragon prince would have more hope on the path of becoming a great emperor. He might even be able to use it to break through the gate of immortality. But now, before they could capture Lin Xian, the news had been leaked. This result made them go crazy with anger. The Yi family, Gu family, Yao Guang, Yao Qi, and the other sacred leaders' eyes flickered. As expected, they had long suspected it, but they didn't dare to believe it. But now, when this news came out, they were even more certain that the thing in Lin Xian's hands was the great dragon sword soul. The great dragon sword soul was a cultivation method and saint technique. It was once possessed by the Shimin Great Emperor and became a sword emperor of his generation. It could be said that, in terms of attack power, it could definitely dominate the world. Whoever obtained it had hope of becoming the next Shimin Great Emperor. How could these people not be tempted? Not to mention the sacred leaders. Even the primordial kings and the dragon race were incomparably jealous. In an instant, the world was in an uproar. The 10,000 ancient races didn't hesitate and directly issued a kill order to frantically search for Lin Xian. They wanted to capture him and seize the great dragon sword soul. On the other side, the humans were also shaken. Many of them were burning with passion. Of course, they could not be so shameless as to attack directly. They might have been able to do so in the past, but now, with the 10,000 ancient races eyeing them covetously, it was time for the human race to join forces. Therefore, at this time, he should not be so blatant. However, these people would definitely not give up. Many elders and even sect masters of the sacred grounds were secretly searching for Lin Xian. As long as they discovered the other party, they would secretly make a move, quietly kill the other party, and seize the great dragon's sword soul, especially those who had a grudge against Lin Xian. The 5 Elements Palace, 9 Heavens Sacred Ground, 10,000 Lightnings Sacred Ground, Toba Clan and others were also secretly taking action. The Tai Dynasty, the Battle Tribe, and the Heavenly Human Tribe also came out to search for Lin Xian. At this moment, Lin Xian had once again become the focus of the world. What great dragon sword spirit? Leaf Dao Denier, Gu Santong, Flowerless, Murong Qingqing, and Shen Jingqiu had just returned to their clans in the Holy Land when they heard the news. They were extremely shocked. They really did not expect Lin Xian to have such a treasure. Murong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu were not so surprised. The two of them had followed Lin Xian for a long time, so they knew. However, Leaf Dao Denier and the others did not know. In fact, Leaf Dao Denier was extremely shocked because Lin Xian's 9-yang divine body was originally not weaker than his saint body. Now that the other party had such an offensive saint art in his hands, it could be said that he would definitely be a powerful enemy on the road to becoming a great emperor in the future. However, he would not be afraid, nor would he assassinate. In fact, he did not even want his clan to make a move, because he and Lin Xian were friends. Even if there was a fight on the road to becoming a great emperor in the future, he still hoped that it would be a fair fight. Moreover, it would not hurt the feelings between them. Not to mention them, even the people from the Immortal Palace were stunned. The chief enforcer, Li Xuanxian, and the others were also shocked. Because other than Xia Jiao, no one else knew that Lin Xian had the great dragon sword soul. They did not expect. Lin Xian actually had such a secret. Li Xuanxian said in a deep voice, "There was no need to say anything now. Quickly send people to bring the palace master over. They could not let others assassinate him. The palace master is the hope of the Immortal Palace in the future." These people were excited. Lin Xian was the palace master of the Immortal Palace. The stronger Lin Xian was, the stronger the Immortal Palace would be. If Lin Xian became the next great emperor, the immortal palace would soar into the sky and become an extreme Tao holy land. In tens of thousands of years, they would become the true overlord of the world and be respected by all. How could they not be excited by such a scene? Therefore, the people of the immortal palace moved out one after another, preparing to bring Lin Xian back. On the other side, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon were also driving the Black Earth at full speed. They wanted to reach the immortal palace as soon as possible. Otherwise, it would be bad if they were robbed and killed by others. There was an agreement before that the older generation was not allowed to kill the young geniuses. But this time it was too special. This was not a battle between the younger generation, but a battle to seize the great dragon sword soul, an offensive saint art. Perhaps even the saints would jump out at that time. Indeed, a few of the saints were tempted. They had no choice. The great dragon sword soul was an offensive saint art. If they could obtain it, they would have a chance to become a great emperor. How could these saints not be excited about such a thing? Ruzalong quickly opened the gate and teleported back. Lin Xian also stopped flying. He decided to use the array formation to quickly return. The Crimson Dragon began to set up the array formation. In the void, the power of space cracked, forming a terrifying black hole. The Black Earth was still slowly entering. It was about to disappear. However, at this moment, a large palm descended from the sky, directly smashing the void and shattering the newly formed teleportation array. The Black Earth was also sent flying, crashing into the ground below, directly breaking a dozen mountains. Inside the Black Earth, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon's blood was boiling. Their faces were extremely gloomy. Damn it, a peerless powerhouse had made a move. The hand in the sky was too terrifying. It could shatter everything in an instant. Moreover, the other party was able to determine their location so quickly. It was too shocking. Could it be that Yi Wudao and the others had leaked the news? The Crimson Dragon gritted his teeth. Lin Xian's face was gloomy. He shook his head. Impossible. I believe them. It shouldn't be them who leaked the news. Perhaps someone has deduced our fate. Moreover, we are already millions of miles away from the spirit vein. Even if the news was leaked, they couldn't have found us so quickly. Lin Xian was right. The Crimson Dragon understood this. But who did it? They didn't know. Damn it, you better not let me know. Otherwise, Ben Huang will tear down your nest in the future. The Crimson Dragon was furious. Chapter 2838. Lin Xian said with a gloomy face as he hurriedly left. He controlled the Black Earth and quickly shuttled away, preparing to leave in another direction. However, at this moment, another giant palm slammed down from the sky, destroying the mountain range and sending the Black Earth flying into the void. Not good. Another terrifying, peerless expert. This was definitely a terrifying, invincible king. He was at least at the level of a Grand Elder, a Sacred Lord, or Sect Master. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so terrifying. Run! Lin Xian burned his divine crystal. The Black Earth erupted with a terrifying light, piercing through the void. It was very fast, completely escaping the range of the two giant palms. It flew towards the direction of the immortal palace. However, not long after, he was sent flying again. Another powerful enemy had appeared. Not good. I'm afraid we can't go back. There are peerless experts hiding on the path of the immortal palace, waiting to kill us. The Crimson Dragon said. Damn it. Lin Xian was also going crazy. They didn't expect these people to act so quickly. Kid, look at this aura. It's not just the ancient race. There are also experts from the human race. I knew it. Lin Xian's face was cold. He naturally knew that the human race would definitely make a move. However, these people were all hidden. He didn't know who did it. Sure enough, along the way, Lin Xian had already suffered 4 terrifying attacks. Fortunately, the Black Earth was incomparably tough. Under such terrifying attacks, it didn't break. It could still explode with power and move forward quickly. However, more and more experts appeared in front of them. This made Lin Xian's heart sink. All of a sudden, the rift was torn apart as several terrifying figures descended from above. Li Xuanxian, the Great Guardian, and the others descended from the sky. Palace Master will cover you. Hurry up and retreat. Li Xuanxian and the others used their powerful strength to resist. In the sky, the giant palms were constantly shattering. Buzz! A few hazy figures appeared. These figures were like gods and demons. They appeared in the sky, surrounded by a hazy light that covered their true faces. In the sky, an intense battle broke out. Li Xuanxian, the chief enforcer, and the others went all out, causing the sky to shatter and the earth to crack. Lin Xian controlled the black earth to travel quickly. However, after flying for a period of time, another group of terrifying experts arrived. This time, the experts were even more terrifying. Not good. Lin Xian hurriedly changed directions and flew into the distance. The experts behind him quickly chased after him. Suddenly, a wisp of saintly might descended from the sky, piercing through the void. Fortunately, Lin Xian's reaction was fast enough. He controlled the black earth to perform a spatial warp. That was why he wasn't hit by the holy might. Otherwise, even the black earth would have been damaged. Not good. It's the sage. The sage has made his move. Lin Xian's face darkened, and the crimson dragon screamed. Up until now, they had been hunted down by at least 5 forces. Moreover, a sage had appeared. This was not a good thing. The longer this dragged on, the more saints would make their move. Kid, you can't go to the Immortal Palace anymore. The path to the Immortal Palace has been completely cut off by them. Even if you activate the formation, you will definitely be beaten out. The Crimson Dragon said in a deep voice. Lin Xian also nodded. He naturally knew that these people would definitely not let him return to the Immortal Palace, because if he returned to the Immortal Palace, it would be difficult to catch him again. After all, as an ancient inheritance, the Immortal Palace had terrifying strength. After entering, it would be very difficult to attack. Moreover, it would be very inconvenient. Therefore, these people would use all kinds of methods on the road. Then where should we go? Lin Xian asked. Do you still remember the Black Demon Cliff? You mean the place where you obtain the 9 yang divine body inheritance? Hearing this, Lin Xian's eyes lit up. You mean we should go in? That's right, that was a forbidden area. Even saints did not dare to step in easily. Entering there would be temporary safety. Well, that was the only way. Lin Xian nodded. It seemed that this was the only place where he could temporarily hide. Although it was a forbidden area, he had entered it last time. Moreover, this time he had the 9 yang divine body, so he should be able to enter safely. However, the others should not dare to enter. Thinking of this, he activated the formation platform again and teleported. In the sky, terrifying energy bombarded the void. However, this time their deduction was wrong. They were bombarding the void in the direction of the Immortal Palace. And this time, Lin Xian did not return to the Immortal Palace at all. Therefore, this time he teleported away safely. Not good. My deduction was wrong. This kid is not going to the Immortal Palace. He is going somewhere else. If he doesn't go to the Immortal Palace, he will die. No matter where he goes, it will at most prolong his life a little. In the sky, a few cold voices sounded. As long as they cut off the path to the Immortal Palace, the other party would not be able to escape. Go. These people also tore the void. Some of them even divined the heavens to capture Lin Xian's position. The sage in the sky formed a series of divine chains of order that pierced through the void. The power of a sage was definitely mysterious and unfathomable. In an instant they caught up. Boom! 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 Above the endless mountain, the void split open, forming a huge crack. In the terrifying vortex, a black spirit ship flew out. Without stopping at all, it flew towards the black mountain peak ahead. In an instant, it disappeared into the cliff. Not long after the black earth entered, the void behind it split open, and a terrifying figure appeared. Divine chains of order danced around his body. It was the mysterious sage. After he appeared, he frowned. This guy actually entered here. The sage's voice was hoarse and carried a biting cold aura. Obviously, he did not expect Lin Xian to enter the black demon cliff. With a cold snort, the sage tore through heaven and earth and walked forward. Wherever he passed, countless nomological laws flickered under his feet, forming a divine bridge that carried him forward. Soon, he also entered the black demon cliff. Not long after he entered, a few more figures tore through the void and rushed over. They were the other powerhouses who were chasing after Lin Xian. However, when these people saw the black demon cliff, their faces became extremely ugly. Damn it, this kid actually entered this forbidden area. Should we chase after him? Legend has it that the black demon cliff is very strange. Although it is not one of the 5 forbidden areas, it is still a very terrifying place of death. Even the sages did not dare to enter easily. If this kid enters, it will definitely be difficult for him to survive. I guess he should be hiding outside, not daring to go in. That's right, he's only here to hide, not to die. Use your energy to bombard the outside of the black demon cliff. Force that brat to come out. Several people quickly transmitted their voices, and then they struck out a vast amount of energy. Like a mountain torrent, it surged downward. Suddenly, the void below split open with a terrifying roar. The terrifying energy swept through the outside of the black demon cliff. The mountains around the black demon cliff shattered, and the entire black demon cliff exuded a peerless aura. Chapter 2839. Streams of black air turned into giant pythons and quickly rushed forward. In an instant, it enveloped the mysterious powerhouses who had attacked. Damn it! Not good. Retreat. Get lost. These powerhouses roared angrily and attacked with amazing divine abilities to resist. However, they were still blasted away by the black air and vomited blood. Damn it! This black demon cliff is so evil. These people's faces were extremely ugly, and their eyes were filled with fear. They had only used energy to bombard the outside, but they had already suffered such a terrifying attack. If they went in, they might not even have a corpse left. Roar! Ah! Just as they were discussing whether to attack again or ask for reinforcements, a crazy voice suddenly came from inside Black Demon Cliff. As soon as this voice came out, the sky fell and the earth cracked. Those mysterious powerhouses also felt their scalps go numb. Damn it, this is the pressure of a sage. Could it be that a sage had gone in? Sure enough, in the next moment, a ray of light soared into the sky from inside Black Demon Cliff, carrying terrifying divine chains of order and terrifying laws. It tore through the void and quickly escaped and disappeared. Only a pool of blood was left behind, piercing through the ground. Sage blood. That was the blood of a sage. Oh heavens, a sage was injured. These people were so frightened that their bodies began to tremble. Black Demon Cliff was indeed a legendary forbidden land of death. Even a sage would be injured if he went in. Fortunately, they did not go in before. Thinking of this, they quickly retreated to a safe distance and set up camp. They did not act rashly, but they joined forces to seal the surrounding space to prevent that kid from going out. Black Demon Cliff is too dangerous. We can't go in. Indeed, that kid would definitely not be able to hold on for too long. It would not be long before he came out. These people waited in place. As soon as the kid left Black Demon Cliff, they would kill him. However, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days passed. These peerless powerhouses frowned. What was going on? The kid didn't come out? Damn it, he couldn't have been killed in there, right? It was very likely that even a sage would be injured after going in. let alone that kid. He would have probably been turned into ashes long ago. Could it be that the great dragon sword soul was left in Black Demon Cliff? These people frowned. They immediately passed on the message. A day later, the void cracked open, and even more terrifying and powerful figures descended. Some of them even used holy weapons. In the sky, divine chains danced as the laws condensed. Quickly, set up the heaven-concealing formation. We can't let the news spread. These people work together to set up a peerless formation, concealing all the secrets of the heavens. Otherwise, just the saints' might alone would have been enough to shake the entire place, and everyone would have been able to tell that the other party was here. In that case, they would engage in endless battles because everyone would be fighting for the great dragon sword soul. Fortunately, they were well prepared. This time, they brought a saint and 2 saint weapons. Terrifying energy, earth-shattering, poured into the Black Demon Cliff, trying to force its way in. This was an earth-shattering battle. The Black Demon Cliff was stimulated. Endless demonic energy surged, turning into devil kings one after another, tearing apart the heaven and earth. In the end, the 2 saint weapons were sent flying, and a saint was injured. This scene terrified the 10,000 Archean races. Damn it, what kind of place is this? A saint and 2 sacred weapons were unable to do anything to him? Could it be that they had to use an extreme weapon? However, extreme weapons were not something that could be used at will, because they were used as a foundation to intimidate others. Basically, they would only use extreme weapons if they were in danger of extermination. Under other circumstances, they would definitely not use extreme weapons unless they had no other choice. Furthermore, the consequences and influence of using an extreme Dao weapon were simply too great. Firstly, it would consume endless resources. Secondly, a single attack would definitely cause unimaginable consequences. Therefore, these people's expressions were ugly. However, without using extreme weapons, even a saint could not enter. Could it be that they had to watch the great dragon sword soul be lost in the Black Demon Cliff? In the sky, the laws on the saint's body danced, forcing the demonic energy out of his body. His face was pale as he said, coldly, "Although the attack just now did not enter, I've already detected it. I didn't sense the aura of the great dragon sword soul, which meant that the kid was not dead. The great dragon sword soul was still in his hands. Otherwise, the great dragon sword soul would definitely be earth-shattering." Hearing the saint's words, the other 10,000 ancient races, powerhouses' expressions turned grave. Not dead yet. This was really surprising. "Patriarch, what should we do?" The primordial kings looked at the primordial saint in the sky and asked in a deep voice. The primordial saint said, "You guys stay here and guard. That kid will come out sooner or later. Seal the world and don't let any news leak. Don't let anyone else enter. Anyone who approaches will be killed without mercy. I'll go back now. The 10,000 ancient races have already started that plan. Therefore, I can't stay here for long. However, as soon as that kid appears, inform us immediately." "Yes, Patriarch, we understand." The primordial kings hurriedly responded respectfully. At the same time, they were extremely shocked. Was that plan finally going to be activated? It really made their blood boil. Unfortunately, they could not go and could only watch that kid from here. It was really frustrating. But thinking about it, if they could capture that kid, it would definitely be a great contribution. It would not be any worse than carrying out that plan. Therefore, they all felt relieved. In the sky, the primordial kings stopped and sat down cross-legged. Around them, there were other primordial creatures floating in the void. They had set up an inescapable net. At the same time, the news also spread. Lin Xian was chased by countless primordial kings and mysterious powerhouses, and in the end his whereabouts were unknown. This news caused an uproar in the world. Did they make a move? They did not expect that these powerhouses would make a move so quickly. This was especially true for the archaic kings, who were crazily fighting over the treasures. The people on the human side also had gloomy expressions. Some of the sacred lords and sect masters were secretly angry. Damn it, he actually let that brat escape. Could it be that he was caught by the primordial kings? No, the great dragon sword soul, the world's offensive saint technique, must not fall into the hands of those primordial races. These people gritted their teeth. Even the Yi family, Gu family, Jade Light, Jade Pool, and the sacred lords of the first-tier holy lands asked one after another. However, they did not receive any news at all. The immortal palace hall was furious. They did not expect that these people would dare to be so crazy. They dared to attack their palace master. And now, Lin Xian's whereabouts were really unknown. Even they did not know where he went. This was unbearable for them. If something happened to Lin Xian, they would not be able to accept such a loss. Therefore, at this moment, the immortal palace hall attacked like crazy. Invincible kings roared in all directions. There were even saints who appeared and walked between heaven and earth. This made everyone tremble. Chapter 2840. It seemed that the immortal palace was indeed terrifying. Even a saint had appeared. However, even a saint couldn't find where Lin Xian was. This was even more shocking. Could it be that Lin Xian had really fallen? Was he killed by an immemorial king? No one knew. At this moment, countless cultivators in the world were searching for Lin Xian's whereabouts. On the other side, in the nest of 10,000 dragons, the dragon race experts had solemn expressions. In front of them, there was a small, golden dragon standing there, exuding a monstrous dragon aura. This golden dragon was incomparably valiant. The aura on its body was too terrifying, especially the dragon blood. It was even more terrifying than the old experts around it. These dragon race experts stood in front of this little dragon with incomparable respect, because this dragon was the dragon prince of the nest of 10,000 dragons. He was also the son of the dragon emperor. He was the true emperor's son. Is there any news of the great dragon sword spirit? The golden dragon's voice was still a little immature, but it carried a sense of majesty and unquestionable authority. Soon, a dragon race cultivator knelt on the ground on one knee and reported to the dragon prince that there was no news yet. That person escaped into the Black Demon Cliff. We can't attack him for a while, and we can't send too many people in. Black Demon Cliff? The golden dragon's eyes flickered as he said, coldly, "Send someone to guard there. If there is news, immediately report to me. Now let's carry out the plan. Dragon Prince, there's no need for you to personally take action. You can continue to absorb the dragon aura here to strengthen yourself. Leave these matters to us." In front of him, an immemorial king said respectfully, "All right." The golden dragon nodded. "I'm still in the growth period, and I still need some time before I can go out. I'll leave these matters to you. I'll send 2 saints to go with you. In addition, bring the azure dragon skin and cover the sky. You must suppress the foundation of those ancient families and extreme Tao holy emperors. We must not let their saints revive. Don't worry, Prince. Everything is under our control, those immemorial kings." A sinister smile appeared on his face. The golden dragon nodded. He directly entered the deepest part of the nest of 10,000 dragons. He began to absorb the dragon aura, to strengthen his body. Rapid growth. In the surroundings, huge divine crystals were floating in the air. It was obvious that the peerless powerhouses of the nest of 10,000 dragons had not fully recovered. They still existed in the form of a foundation. Among them, 2 saints had awakened. They would lead these archaic kings and archaic life forms into battle, conquering humanity and flattening the entire true spirit world. Let's go, it's time to reclaim the world. The entire world will be under our control once more. The 2 sages exuded a biting cold aura as the terrifying order law formed beneath their feet. Take the azure dragon horn and command the world." One of the Archean kings took out the horn of the azure dragon and channeled his energy into it. A bizarre sound rang out, reverberating through the area. Boom! Boom! The sky trembled violently. A blood moon descended from the sky as if it was going to crush the entire world. Soon, a blood-colored moon descended into the nest of 10,000 dragons and turned into a group of figures. These people's chi and blood surged. There were blood-colored moon phantoms revolving around their bodies. They were like stars, emitting a terrifying aura. Blood Moon Clan, greetings to the Dragon Prince. I am willing to follow the Dragon Crown Prince to conquer the world. In front, an archaic king knelt on one knee, looking very respectful. Behind him, the Blood Moon Clan's archaic life forms also looked extremely pious. Boom! In the Void Palace, a huge figure tore open the space and walked out. A terrifying power emanated from his body. His eyes turned into the stars of the universe. Stone Clan greets the Dragon Crown Prince. These people were tall like stone men. Their bodies emitted terrifying runes, and their aura could destroy the world. Blue Demon Clan greets the Dragon Crown Prince. Silver Clan greets the Dragon Crown Prince. Blue Demon Clan greets the Dragon Crown Prince. The void split open, and one terrifying figure after another appeared in the nest of 10,000 dragons. These archaic races didn't come alone. Instead, they came with the peerless powerhouses of their clans. They were densely packed, forming a terrifying royal army. A total of 10 royal clans descended, and they all prostrated themselves at the feet of the Dragon Clan. Very good. The Dragon Crown Prince bathed in the aura of the Dragon Tao. Golden blood surged from his body, and a terrifying dragon might spread. You will follow the Dragon Clan to conquer the world and return to the world. Yes, we pledge our lives to follow the Dragon Crown Prince. The powerhouses and geniuses of the 10 royal clans said respectfully, "Very good." The corners of the Dragon Crown Prince's mouth curled up into a smile. He raised his golden head, and his eyes were like divine arrows that pierced through the void. I wonder how the other places are doing? Divine Phoenix Ridge. This was also a terrifying place. No humans dared to come here, because this was the territory of another archaic royal clan. The Phoenix clan once had a terrifying great emperor, the immortal Phoenix god. It could be said that it was an existence on par with the nest of 10,000 dragons. It was extremely terrifying. Now it had also awakened. At this moment, in front of the divine Phoenix Ridge, there were also 10 archaic royal clans. The densely packed archaic race army knelt on the ground. Fire Chilin Cave, archaic royal clan. Their ancestor had produced a great emperor, the Chilin Emperor. He was truly awe-inspiring and ruled the universe. At this moment, in front of the Fire Chilin Cave, there were also 10 archaic royal clans. The 3 archaic royal clans had awakened at the same time and were preparing to attack together. This was shocking news. In addition to these 3 archaic royal clans, there were also 30 archaic royal clans and hundreds of archaic race. It could be said that the lineup this time was truly terrifying. Furthermore, there were innumerable archaic kings and even more terrifying geniuses among them. There were even many sacred weapons and sages. It could be said that this time the archaic race was very well prepared. On the other side, although the human race had ruled the entire land, there were many sacred lands and sects, and there were also several ancient clans. However, they were not prepared at all. They did not even know that there was a great disaster waiting for them. In the nest of 10,000 dragons, the Dragon Crown Prince calculated the time and felt that it was about time. He said, "Old ancestor, contact them and use the azure dragon skin together to cover the sky and earth." The 2 sages nodded after hearing this. Then laws flew out from their bodies, and a powerful magical power began to transmit their voices. Divine Phoenix Ridge. The two old men's bodies shone with boundless light. Terrifying laws formed two pairs of divine wings behind them. At this moment, after hearing the voice transmission, their eyes flickered. It seemed that it was time to make a move. On the Fire Chilin Cave side, their sages had also received the news. Divine flames on their bodies surged into the sky. Let's do it! Powerful figures rose into the sky one after another. The three archaic royal clans and 6 sages appeared in the sky together. In addition, the archaic royal clans and hundreds of archaic race also had a few terrifying sages. A total of 12 sages appeared in the sky together. Chapter 2841. They no longer tried to conceal their saint aura. Between them, there was a dragon's shadow floating there. If one looked carefully, they would realize that it wasn't a true dragon, but a piece of dragon skin. It was the skin of a true dragon. Buzz, the 2 dragon race sages of the nest of 10,000 dragons, were the first to move. They poured a vast amount of dragon blood onto the dragon skin. The dragon skin trembled as if it had come to life, letting out a loud dragon roar. Then it quickly grew larger. Attack! The 2 of them roared angrily. The other 10 saints also attacked one after another, shooting out terrifying rays of light. The azure dragon skin was enlarged infinitely, forming a dark cloud that covered the world. It was too big. 100,000 miles, 1,000,000 miles, 10 million miles. At this moment, everyone felt the sky darken as a terrifying projection descended from the sky. The remote antiquity families, the extreme Tao sacred lands, and the top sects were all shrouded by this shadow. The terrifying dragon might shook the 9 heavens. Damn it, not good. What happened? The human cultivators were astonished. Countless gazes in the various cities and palaces looked up at the sky. The sun was covered. Damn it, what was going on? Were the 10,000 ancient races going to attack? Roar! At the same time, an extremely terrifying dragon roar sounded. Then the entire world completely darkened. The terrifying dragon might spread between heaven and earth. Damn it! At this moment, all the human powerhouses were shocked. Many of them were pressed to the ground. Even those invincible kings, grand elders, sacred leaders, and sect masters felt a tremor from their souls. The expressions of the Yi family, Gu family, Alkaid, Jade Pool, Tao East Sacred Lands, Great Xia Dynasty, Myriad Buddha Temple, and other remote antiquity families and extreme Tao sacred lands all changed. Not good. It's the aura of an extreme Tao weapon. The Yi family patriarch roared. Damn it. Did the nest of 10,000 dragons use an extreme Tao weapon? What were they trying to do? Hurry up and activate the void mirror of my Gu family. The Gu family patriarch also roared. The other party seemed to be coming aggressively. They had to quickly take defensive measures. It wasn't just the Gu family. At this moment, all the sacred lands and sects activated their peerless array formations to block. At the same time, they prepared to revive the sacred weapons of their families and sacred lands. They even wanted to awaken their sages. But in the next moment, they screamed. Damn it, they couldn't revive the sacred weapons. Not good. Unable to contact the patriarch. Terrified voices sounded. The faces of the sect leaders and sacred lords of the sacred grounds changed. Damn it, what kind of joke is this? How could this be? They personally attempted to awaken their holy armaments, but discovered that they were truly unable to awaken their holy armaments. They were also unable to contact their old ancestors. How could this be? For a time, the world was in an uproar. Immortal Palace's side was the same. They realized that they were also unable to awaken the sacred weapon. What's going on? Li Xuanxian's face was extremely gloomy, while the Great Guardian and the others' faces were filled with worry. Where did the old hall master go? At this moment, they were all hoping for the old hall master to return. Because Lin Xian was no longer known, and the old palace master was nowhere to be found. Their immortal palace could be considered a group of dragons without a leader. However, fortunately, with Li Xuanxian here, she could temporarily lead Immortal Palace's experts. The 10,000 Dragons diagram was that supreme weapon. It sealed the heavens, sealed the earth, sealed everything. At this moment, a sigh sounded in the starry hall. Then a sage appeared. "Greetings, Patriarch." Li Xuanxian, the great guardian, and the others all stood up and bowed respectfully. That sage shook his head. There was no need to be so polite. The current situation was extremely dangerous. They had to deal with it carefully. Otherwise, it would be a crisis that would wipe them out. "Patriarch, what exactly was going on?" Immortal Palace's experts and invincible kings were extremely puzzled. That sage said that the nest of 10,000 dragons' supreme weapon, the 10,000 dragons diagram, had the power to suppress and seal. Perhaps this time they had opened the 10,000 dragons diagram and directly sealed the entire world. Those saints and holy armaments that had not been revived could not be communicated at all for the time being. However, those holy soldiers and saints who had been revived were still able to move. From the looks of it, the 10,000 ancient races wanted to seal the foundation of the human race so that we could not fight at full strength. It's sealing our foundation. In other words, those sleeping saints could not help us? Heavens! Immortal Palace's martial artists were extremely shocked, especially Li Xuanxian, the great guardian, and the others. They knew that their Immortal Palace had an extremely powerful foundation. Not only Immortal Palace, but the Yi family and Gu family also had extremely powerful foundations. Just the sleeping saints alone were probably many. But now, these saints could not be revived. Then what about the supreme weapons? Yi family and Gu family both had supreme weapons. Wouldn't it be fine if they used the supreme weapons to break the 10,000 dragons diagram? It wasn't that simple. Immortal Palace's sage shook his head. The 10,000 dragons diagram had awakened ahead of time and cut off all connections. Perhaps those ancient families and supreme holy lands could not revive their supreme weapons now. It was truly a disaster. What? They could not revive their supreme weapons? Everyone's faces were filled with despair. If that was really the case, then it would really be terrible. As expected, Yi family, Gu family, Jade Pool, Grand Xia dynasty, 10,000 Buddha temple. Their sect masters' faces were gloomy. It was because they could not revive their supreme weapons. Damn it, how could it be like this? There was a layer of power that separated us from the supreme weapons. Moreover, this power was not turbulent but rather gentle. Therefore, it did not pose a threat to the supreme weapons. The weapon spirit sleeping within the supreme weapons would not awaken either. After learning of this situation, the expressions of these sect masters were abnormally ugly. Before they could react, the other party had already planned everything. Moreover, the other ancient royal families had joined forces and activated the supreme weapons. Needless to say, it was not just the nest of 10,000 dragons. There were definitely other ancient royal families. It was over. For a moment, everyone's faces were filled with despair as they looked up at the sky. In the sky, the 12 saints stood on the azure dragon skin and looked down with incomparably cold expressions. Behind them was an endless ancient army. Each of them was a peerless powerhouse, a terrifying genius. These people also looked down at the earth with cold gazes. At the front, the 2 saints of the nest of 10,000 dragons sneered. What magnificent mountains and rivers! What vast earth! This world was really beautiful. Yes, I remember that before I fell asleep, everything was under our control. The saint of the divine Phoenix Ridge also spoke in a deep voice, shaking the void. How could lowly humans have the right to control such a world? This world belongs to us. The saint of the Fire Chilin cave also spoke. His voice was cold and emotionless. Their eyes erupted with a biting cold light. Now that we have awakened, We are about to take back everything that belongs to us. The humans are only worthy of being our slaves. Chapter 2842. It's time to let these lowly humans know our power. We will once again rule the land and rule the world. The 12 sages had cold expressions as the nomological laws on their bodies soared into the sky. They were like high and mighty gods. They formed seals with their palms, and terrifying seals appeared one after another. This world belongs to us. Let the humans feel pain. As the 12 sages used their divine chains and nomological laws, the azure dragon under their feet seemed to have come alive and turned into an incomparably huge dragon. The dragon opened its head and absorbed the spiritual energy within tens of millions of miles, forming a terrifying ball of light that suddenly rushed down. Black Demon Cliff. In order to escape the pursuit of the 10,000 ancient races, Lin Xian entered this place and was temporarily safe. However, when he first entered, he still felt his hair stand on end, because they felt that a sage had killed his way in. This made Lin Xian's scalp go numb. Sages were extremely terrifying existences. He couldn't resist at all, and the other party was so strong. He could only pray that Black Demon Cliff was extremely terrifying and could stop this sage. Sure enough, not long after, the sage was inexplicably attacked and blood stained the sky. He left in a sorry state. Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. Then his face was filled with shock. Even a sage could be injured here, let alone him. If he wasn't careful, he would probably lose his life here. Fortunately, perhaps because he cultivated the 9-yang divine body, Lin Xian wasn't attacked in Black Demon Cliff. He felt that there was a sacred power that seemed to be attracting him. Therefore, Lin Xian decided to go deeper because he knew that even if he went out now, he wouldn't be able to escape. There must be ancient powerhouses guarding outside. He had to think of a way to see if he could find any treasures here and go out to kill. However, after searching around, he still couldn't find anything. Therefore, he simply stopped searching and sat there cross-legged, silently cultivating and recovering his body first. He wasn't afraid anyway, and those people outside wouldn't dare to come in. He still had a lot of cultivation resources in his hands, all of which were in the black earth. He could use them to cultivate. However, a few days later, the world suddenly changed as a terrifying pressure was emitted from the sky. Even Lin Xian, who was in the Black Demon Cliff, could feel it. The Crimson Dragon also came out of the black earth and screamed in fright. Damn, could it be that the saints had made their move again? He was too scared. Lin Xian was also on high alert. He decided that if the situation turned bad, he would enter the depths of Black Demon Cliff. However, after waiting for a long time, he did not see the saint descend. Instead, the entire sky turned dark as if the sun had been blocked. What's going on? Lin Xian frowned. The Crimson Dragon's eyes flickered. Dragon aura, he exclaimed. Naturally, he could feel the terrifying aura of the dragon clan pressing down from the sky. Furthermore, it was not an ordinary dragon. It was at least a saint-level dragon. From the looks of it, it should be the saint of the nest of 10,000 dragons who had made a move. Could it be that the saint of the nest of 10,000 dragons attacked us? Lin Xian was shocked. If that was the case, then things were really bad. He activated his heavenly secret divine eyes, and his eyes emitted a golden light that pierced through the demonic energy and darkness. He looked into the distance. In the next moment, his pupils constricted. No, it was not targeted at Black Demon Cliff, but the entire continent. Under the observation of the heavenly secret divine eyes, he saw the terrifying dragon Might Law covering the entire world. It was not only the Black Demon Cliff that was affected, but the other continents were also affected. Qing Cheng Qiu, or what happened? Lin Xian used the array formation to transmit his voice. Before they separated, they exchanged array formations with each other so that they could transmit their voice. Murong Qingqing and Shin Jingqiu had also transmitted their voice. They knew that Lin Xian had entered Black Demon Cliff, and his life was not in danger for the time being. Therefore, the two of them were at ease and stayed in the sacred land to cultivate silently. But now they could not cultivate at all. When they heard Lin Xian's voice transmission, the two of them hurriedly told him what they had seen. Big Brother Xian, not good. The 10,000 ancient races are attacking. They took out their supreme weapon, the 10,000 dragons diagram, and sealed everything. Our Jade Lake can no longer use the West Emperor Tower. Even the sleeping saints and the sealed sacred weapons would not be able to come back to life. Hearing Murong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu's words, Su Qin was extremely surprised. The Crimson Dragon's eyelids also twitched. 10,000 dragons diagram. Damn it, is the nest of 10,000 dragons crazy? They actually took out such a thing. They want to use an extreme weapon. As a dragon and an old monster who had lived for many years, the Crimson Dragon naturally knew how terrifying the 10,000 dragons diagram was. If it used its full strength, it could probably destroy the entire world. No, they used an extreme weapon to intimidate the other families. Don't worry, they won't destroy the world. Their goal is to regain control of the world. Lin Xian's face was gloomy. He naturally knew what these ancient creatures wanted to do. Didn't they want to regain control of the world? Even if the world wasn't destroyed, the human race was still in danger. They couldn't use their hidden trump cards. With the current strength of the human race, they couldn't resist the 10,000 ancient races. Furthermore, this time, it was the three archaic royal families leading countless royal families and archaic races. This force was simply too powerful. They also had an extreme weapon to rely on. It would be difficult for the human race to resist, unless the human race could use an extreme weapon to revive those saints. Perhaps they could resist, but if they really fought, the world would definitely collapse. Ghosts would wail and wolves would howl. Rivers of blood would probably flow. Many sacred grounds and families would be wiped out from this world. At this point, the Crimson Dragon sighed. Kid, why do I feel that this pursuit is a good thing for you? If you don't go out, you won't have to suffer the chaos outside. You'll definitely be able to survive. Why don't you cultivate here for a few hundred years and go out after becoming a saint? You'll definitely be able to intimidate a region. After all, at the saint level, your 9-yang divine body and great dragon sword soul are definitely terrifying. Even if those 10,000 ancient races come to kill you, you can still retreat calmly. If you really can't, you can leave the true spirit world and go to the outer realm. The world was so big that a saint could leave whenever he wanted. Lin Xian directly shook his head and rejected the Crimson Dragon's suggestion. No, I can't cultivate here for a few hundred years. I have to go out quickly. In this crisis, Immortal Palace will also suffer. As the master of Immortal Palace, I can't just ignore it. Moreover, Qingchang and Qiu are still outside. I can't give up on them. I have to protect them. Lin Xian clenched his fists, his eyes releasing a biting cold light. If he couldn't even protect his subordinates and beloved women, then what was the point of cultivating? Chapter 2843. Kid, are you out of your mind? The Crimson Dragon gritted his teeth in anger. What's the use of going out now? You're a young genius who can suppress the younger generation. But this isn't a battle between the younger generation. Did you see that? Those immemorial kings and saints have all jumped out, and they even used their supreme weapons. Do you think you can fight them? There must be a way. Lin Xian took a deep breath and stood up. His heavenly secret divine eyes scanned the surroundings. This is Black Demon Cliff, where the 9-sun sword saint fell. There must be other treasures here. Ruffian Dragon, help me look around. You have to find something useful. I want to help the human race. I want to save the Immortal Palace. I want to protect Qingqing and Qiu'er. Lin Xian was very anxious. Useless kid. So what if I give you a sacred weapon? Can you use its full power? So what if you let the other saints use it? A sacred weapon can't change the battlefield at all. The Crimson Dragon shook his head and sighed. Unless the real Nine Sun Sword Saint revives, perhaps he can reverse the situation. I don't care, I must try. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a biting cold light. The Nine Sun divine body surged with divine fire. There must be something inside. I must go in and take a look. Lin Xian strode into the depths. Sigh. The Crimson Dragon sighed and shook his head. What a stubborn kid. He swung his dragon tail and followed. Boom! In the world outside Black Demon Cliff, the huge azure dragon opened its mouth and absorbed the spiritual energy within millions of miles. It gathered into a terrifying ball of light that was as bright as the sun. It carried a destructive power and blasted downwards. Middle ground, Qingxia sacred ground. This was a sacred ground in middle ground. Its strength was extremely terrifying, and it was also an overlord in middle ground. At this moment, the Qingxia sacred ground had activated a peerless formation. The sacred leader, elders, supreme elders, living fossils, and countless experts and young geniuses were all on guard, because the dragon blood and dragon might in the sky and the laws of the saints were a great threat to them. Suddenly, a glaring light appeared in the sky, so bright that people couldn't open their eyes. Damn it, what was that? The people of the Qingxia Holy Land screamed in horror. The other humans were also shocked. The reason for that was because the sky had already been covered. It was dim and lightless. The sudden appearance of a ray of light in the darkness was truly frightening. Not good, that thing is coming down. The people of the Qingxia Holy Land were terrified. Was it a sun? What they didn't know was that it was an attack from the 10,000 ancient races. Block it. A supreme elder roared madly. Everyone in the Qingxia Holy Land started to move. They frantically operated the formation. The peerless formation emitted a monstrous aura. Rays of light surged, piercing through the void. The mountains within 1,000,000 miles were trembling, and the void was tumbling. The peerless array formation of a holy land was unleashed at full power at this moment. It was truly terrifying. Boom! In the next moment, the sun-like ball of light descended from the sky and blasted onto the array of the Qingxia Holy Land, bursting out with unparalleled light. The space within a radius of millions of miles was completely shattered. Pillars of light were like long dragons, striking the void. Boom! Boom! Crack! Crack! Not good. The people of the Qingxia Holy Land screamed madly, because they found that their peerless array formation only blocked for a moment before cracks appeared. Then it shattered with a loud bang. The sun-like ball of light directly pressed down. With a loud bang, the ground split open, and dozens of large cracks appeared. It was like a giant snake dancing wildly, tearing the ground apart. The spirit mountains, rivers, and countless palaces and pavilions in the Qingxia Holy Land were instantly torn apart and turned into ashes. Damn it! Quickly counterattack. Those people roared as if they had gone mad. Those elders joined forces one after another, pushing a sacred weapon to contend with it. The young disciples quickly fled. However, under the sun-like light, all of their efforts were in vain. The bodies of tens of thousands of martial artists split open, turning into a bloody mist that drifted between heaven and earth. Screams rang out one after another, and those elders' bodies were also torn apart, crushed by this energy. In fact, even his sacred artifact was sent flying. Boom! 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 In the end, the sun-like ball of light landed on the ground and completely exploded, completely enveloping the Qingxia Holy Land. No one could escape. The terrifying sound spread throughout Zhongzhou, and for a moment the Zhongzhou continent shook as if there was an earthquake. Large cracks spread out for hundreds of thousands of miles, and even millions of miles. At this moment, the 4 grand dynasties of Zhongzhou, the other sacred grounds, and the large sects were all stunned. They used secret techniques to observe. When they saw that the Qingxia Holy Land was shrouded in endless energy, they were dumbfounded. Damn it, the Qingxia Holy Land was under attack. Not only Zhongzhou, but Eastern Wilderness, Western Desert, Nanling, and Northern Plains also sensed it at this moment. Those powerful sacred grounds, large sects and families all used their arrays to investigate from a distance. When they saw the result, they were also dumbfounded. What kind of attack was this? What did it use? It was too terrifying. Those ordinary martial artists of the human clan were lying on the ground, unable to stand up at all. Their eyes were filled with infinite horror. The terrifying berserk energy lasted for 3 days and 3 nights before it slowly dissipated. The sun-like ball of light slowly disappeared, and then it dissipated between heaven and earth. How was it? How was the Qingxia Holy Land? That was what everyone was concerned about. At this moment, the Yi family, Gu family, Yao Guang, Yao Qi, the grand dynasties of Zhongzhou, and the Buddhist sects of Western Desert were all investigating. They were all stupefied like wooden chickens. Even those supreme elders and living fossils were stupefied, because they found that the Qingxia Holy Land was gone. Was the Qingxia Holy Land destroyed? Everyone's scalp went numb, and their faces were filled with horror. That's right, the Qingxia Holy Land had been reduced to ashes, and nothing was left. If there was anything left, it would be a sacred weapon. The sacred weapon that was used to resist fell to the ground, emitting a cold light. However, it had also become dim. A sacred weapon was an extremely terrifying weapon, and it was the only one that survived this disaster. The others were all killed. This included the Qingxia Holy Land's elders, grand elders, living fossils, and Qingxia Holy Lord. Without exception, they were all killed in one move. This result made the sacred grounds, large sects, powerhouses, and families of the world silent. Their bodies involuntarily trembled. Was this the power of the 10,000 Archean races? It was too terrifying. With one strike, a sacred ground was destroyed. Such a method was heaven-defying. Those martial artists of the sacred grounds were even more terrified. If this was the case, how could they fight? Their sacred grounds could only wait to be destroyed. The other party could destroy a sacred ground with one strike, and they could not resist at all. Chapter 2844. The Sacred Leader, Sect Master, and the Patriarch of the Clan of the Ancients also had gloomy expressions. They didn't expect the attack of the 10,000 ancient races to be so fierce this time. Their attitude was actually so decisive. Was there no room for negotiation? In the sky, on the azure dragon skin, the 12 sages watched this scene and sneered. What kind of human, sacred ground was it? It couldn't even withstand a single blow. As he spoke, the saint of the nest of 10,000 dragons made a grabbing motion with his hand and picked up the sacred weapon on the ground. The sacred weapon began to tremble rapidly. It was a treasure sword. At this moment, it was emitting a biting cold light, wanting to kill the sage of the nest of 10,000 dragons. The sage of the nest of 10,000 dragons snorted coldly. Dragon blood surged and directly suppressed it. Then the 10,000 dragons diagram in the sky shot down a beam of light and directly destroyed the weapon spirit. The green treasure sword no longer trembled and returned to calm. It was completely held in the hand of the dragon race's sage. It was really a good treasure sword. He sneered and put it behind his back. This scene was naturally seen by the sect masters of the sacred ground. They were speechless. A sacred weapon was so easily obtained by the other party? This scene was like a dream. Damn it, an extreme weapon. The other party had an extreme weapon as his backing. They naturally knew that even a sage would find it difficult to easily control someone else's sacred weapon. However, if there was an extreme weapon, it would be different. Just now, it was the extreme weapon, the 10,000 dragons diagram, that directly destroyed the weapon spirit of the sacred weapon. That was why the sage of the dragon race could control someone else's sacred weapon. Lowly humans, listen up, I'll give you a chance to live. The voice of the dragon race's sage sounded between heaven and earth. Now, give up the entire world and become our slaves. We can give you a way out. Otherwise, what awaits you will be massacred. If you dare to resist, you will end up like the Qingxia sacred ground. A cold voice resounded in all directions, spreading to every sacred ground and major sect. The cultivators of the sacred ground and major sects trembled, their faces filled with fear. Was this a declaration of war? The others were also incomparably furious. Damn it, they want us to give up the world? And they want us to become slaves? What a joke! This was especially so for the cultivators of the sacred ground and major sections. They were used to living like princes and were respected wherever they went. How could they endure being asked to become slaves? However, they did not dare to resist. How could they not be shocked when the Qingxia Holy Land was annihilated in one move? Damn it, what should I do? Didn't any saints come out to save him? They were terrified. Now, they could only place their hopes on the clans of the ancients and the apex Tao sacred grounds. They hoped that the saints of their respective sacred grounds would come out and turn the tide. Give up the world? Impossible. You want us to become your slaves? You must be dreaming. The patriarchs of the Yi family and the Gu family had spoken, as the descendants of the monarch family. How could they agree to such conditions? With the two clans of the ancients taking the lead, the other great sects of the Holy Lands followed suit. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, things weren't that bad. What, do you still want to resist? Since that's the case, don't blame us for being heartless. The 12 sages laughed coldly, and the ancient army behind them exuded a cold, killing intent. Kill. Kill them all for me. Kill until they trembled. Kill them until they submit. Kill. Countless supreme ancient army raised their arms and roared. Terrifying killing intent turned into giant dragons that soared into the sky. At this moment, darkness descended. These ancient creatures were simply too powerful. The 3 theocrats had brought so many experts with them, and they even had the 10,000 dragons portrait to rely on. It could be said that they were incomparably powerful along the way. Roar! These ancient creatures were incomparably crazy. Their angry roars shattered the clouds in all directions. The entire ground was trembling. The human cultivators were terrified. Even their souls were trembling. There was nothing they could do. The other party was simply too powerful. That ferocity, those divine abilities, and the terrifying bloodline power suppressed them to the point that they couldn't breathe. Only a very small number of experts could resist it. Most of the cultivators were directly killed in one move. Boom! In the sky, the void cracked open, and a terrifying dragon claw descended. It was like a demonic mountain that carried an incomparably terrifying aura that made one's soul tremble. Damn it! The 3 elders of the Dayan sacred ground roared. They were 3 invincible kings. At this moment, they executed the Dayan sword technique. Sword chi soared into the sky as if divine arrows were awakening. They fought against the dragon claw in the sky. Boom! Boom! The dragon claw mercilessly descended and shattered all the sword chi. The bodies of the 3 invincible kings of the Dayan sacred ground split open and instantly turned into a mist of blood. Their internal organs were directly smashed. No, elders. The cultivators of the Dayan sacred ground screamed crazily. Their faces were filled with horror. They didn't expect that their elders, invincible kings, would be killed so easily. Their faces were filled with despair. In the next moment, they were also enveloped by the terrifying palm and turned into ashes, vanishing into thin air. Damn it! Damn it! The Dayan sacred lord also roared crazily. However, he was soon sent flying and vomited large mouthfuls of blood. This scene made all the cultivators of the Dayan sacred ground dumbfounded. They couldn't believe it. Even their sacred lord couldn't defeat the other party. Run! At this moment, they were running away crazily. In the sky, the ancient creatures sneered coldly. The silver lightning race's elites turned into lightning beasts and charged down from the sky. Instantly, countless people were pierced by lightning. Despicable ant, go to hell. The blood moon race's primordial king snorted coldly and exuded a terrifying, murderous aura. The blood moon above his head crushed mercilessly like a millstone that could destroy the world. Everyone who was touched by it immediately turned into a mist of blood. At this moment, not only the Dayan sacred ground, but the Tai dynasty, Ninely dynasty, Divine Wind dynasty, and Great Xia dynasty were also affected. A green hand reached out with a pitch-black, ghostly aura and directly killed more than 10 imperial family cultivators. On the other side, the Blue Devil race was continuously harvesting people's souls. Those people's eyes were wide open. There were no wounds on their bodies, but their souls were all devoured. Who can fight with me? The Sure race's elites walked on the ground, their bodies exuding a terrifying power. All the attacks landed on their bodies, but they were unharmed. And a single punch from them was enough to kill those invincible kings. Humans were indeed a bunch of trash. The Sure race's primordial king sneered disdainfully. Western Desert. They were also under attack. In the sky, golden clouds floated and covered the entire world. Countless figures flashed in the clouds. The person in the lead was a woman in red with a pair of divine wings on her back. Her face was cold, and her almond-shaped eyes were filled with killing intent. Chapter 2845. This was the Divine Phoenix Ridge. The Phoenix clan had led countless ancient armies to attack. Damn it, who are you? How can you blaspheme the pure land of Buddhism? The monks of White Horse Temple and Lanrua Temple roared crazily. A bunch of ants dare to be arrogant in front of me? In the sky, the woman in red sneered. The pair of divine wings behind her spread out quickly. They were 30,000 miles long. Then they danced crazily. Wisps of divine light turned into divine arrows that descended from the sky. They were accompanied by killing intent as they shot down from the sky. Buzz! A heaven-splitting divine axe descended from the sky and directly split the Lanrua Temple's Buddhist gate into 2 halves. The array formation was split open by the axe. Boom! The majestic door collapsed, and countless monks turned into a bloody mist. Miserable cries rang out. Damn it! Use the demon subduing array. The eminent monks of Lanrua Temple roared. 360 monks quickly circled in the sky. Their bodies emitted endless Buddhist light. Wu Hua was among them. His Buddhist light bloomed, and a terrifying power surged out. Demon subduing. A golden array formation formed between heaven and earth. Countless Buddhist light flickered, and Buddhist runes floated. It could suppress all evil in the world. You want to trap me with a mere array formation? In the sky, an old man sneered. He was a saint of the Phoenix clan. With a wave of his sleeve, he took out a bone guqin. It was a guqin made from the corpse of a saint of the Phoenix clan. It was a sacred weapon. The sound of the guqin rang out, and the demon subduing array that had just been formed below began to fluctuate like waves. Ka-ka-ka! Cracks appeared on its surface, and with a hong sound, it shattered into pieces, scattering freely between heaven and earth. As for the 300 monks, they vomited blood and flew backward. Some of them directly exploded, and their souls were destroyed by the sound waves. Damn it, sacred weapon. Feng Guqin. It's Feng Guqin. Retreat quickly and resist with Buddhist chanting. Prajna. These monks chanted Buddhist Dharma to resist the Feng Guqin. However, they really could not resist. The Phoenix clan was simply too overbearing. In an instant, more monks were killed. The sky was split open and the ground was shattered. Lanrua Temple was severely damaged. Wu Hua also spat out blood madly. He pointed one finger to the sky and the other to the ground. His body emitted a terrifying light, but he was still unable to resist. Fortunately, as a young prodigy, he was the target of Lancelot's protection. That was why he was not killed. Abbot, what should we do? Block it for me. I'm going to use the demon, subduing pestle, the abbot of Lanrua Temple roared. He entered the depths of Lanrua Temple. Soon, a terrifying light burst out from the depths of Lanrua Temple, bringing with it a monstrous saint aura and countless precepts, shining between heaven and earth. This scene gave hope to the monks of Lanrua Temple. The saint weapon is our demon, subduing pestle. Great, we have hope now. These people cheered, and No Flower breathed a sigh of relief. Seeing this, the saint of the phoenix race sneered coldly. Demon vanquishing pestle? Let me see if you can subdue us. There was disdain in his eyes. The abbot of the Lanrua Temple held the demon, subduing pestle, in his hand. 10,000 rays of Buddhist light bloomed from his body as he soared into the sky. He stared at the figure in the sky and said coldly, "Come, follow me to the outer realm to fight." As he spoke, he soared into the sky. "Do you think I'm afraid of you?" The saint of the phoenix race sneered. He also took Feng Qin, turned into a divine will, and disappeared into the sky. Everyone was extremely nervous. They knew that in a battle of this level, the power of a saint weapon was too terrifying. If they fought on the ground, the area within a radius of tens of millions of miles would probably be destroyed. Therefore, the battles between saints would usually be fought in the outer realm. There was nothing there, only the endless void of the universe. There was no need to be afraid of being destroyed, so those saints could do whatever they wanted. Above, the saints were fighting. Below, there was no stopping. The phoenixes led the primordial royals and other primordial races to kill in a frenzy. Blood flowed like a river. It was extremely tragic. In the end, there was a loud explosion in the sky. Then, the abbot of Lanrua Temple was sent flying and crashed into the ground, vomiting large mouthfuls of blood. The saint of the phoenix race slowly descended with disdain in his eyes. Demon subduing pestle? That's all there is to it. Surrender or die. The same scene was also playing out in White Horse Temple, Myriad Buddha Temple, an apex sacred ground. It had once produced Emperor Amitabha, and his strength could be said to be very terrifying. The temple even had an apex weapon suppressing it. However, they could not use it now. However, as an apex sacred ground, their strength was much stronger than ordinary sacred grounds. Therefore, they had saints who had revived, and several sacred weapons had also been revived. For a moment, they blocked the attacks of the primordial royals. As expected of an apex sacred ground, they were indeed powerful. In the sky, a few figures descended. One of them had nomological laws dancing around his body. It was another saint of the phoenixes. Not good. When the abbot of Myriad Buddha Temple and the elders saw this scene, their pupils constricted. They did not expect the primordial royals to descend, and they were saints. This wasn't good news for them. 10,000 Buddhas augmentation. The abbot of Myriad Buddha Temple snorted coldly. In Myriad Buddha Temple, all the monks began to chant Buddhist scriptures. Wuchen was also there. All the Buddhist scriptures were added to the abbot of Myriad Buddha Temple. With the abbot of Myriad Buddha Temple, a golden Buddha was formed. This golden Buddha was indomitable, as if a real Buddha had appeared in the void, emitting a vast divine might. Is that so? Then let's see if your Myriad Buddha phantom is stronger, or my phoenix phantom is stronger. In the sky, the phoenix race saint sneered. He reached out his hand and released the power of his bloodline. Behind him, a bloody light surged into the sky, forming a phoenix. It emitted a supreme saint's might. When this phoenix phantom appeared, everyone felt their souls tremble. Their bloodline was suppressed, and they could not breathe at all. As expected of the phoenix race, it was an ancestral awakening phantom, a saint-level ancestral awakening phantom. These people's faces were filled with despair. As expected, the abbot of Myriad Buddha Temple's expression also changed. However, he still gritted his teeth and activated the Myriad Buddha phantom to fight against it. The two phantoms collided in the sky, and a terrifying divine light surged into the 9 heavens. Fortunately, Myriad Buddha Temple was an apex sacred ground and had a terrifying array formation protecting it. That was why Myriad Buddha Temple was not destroyed. However, the surrounding ground and sky were all destroyed into nothingness. In the end, the Myriad Buddha phantom vanished into thin air. The abbot of Myriad Buddha Temple also vomited large mouthfuls of blood, and his expression was dispirited. Abbot, those people screamed crazily. Wuchen's figure also swayed and came to the abbot's side. He chanted Amitabha, and a terrifying bloodline power rose from his body, enveloping the abbot of Myriad Buddha Temple. Amitabha. He sighed, and his eyes were filled with the vicissitudes of time. The sun, moon, and stars were not something that a young man could produce. The reincarnation of an ancient Buddha? Interesting. In the sky, the phoenix race, Saint stared at Wuchen and revealed a cold smile. Chapter 2846. However, you're still too young and haven't fully grown. You still can't unleash all the power you had in your previous life. It's not difficult for me to kill you. The saint's killing intent was awe-inspiring. Divine chains of order danced under his feet, transforming into swords of killing. Apart from the western desert, the southern ridge, northern plains, and eastern wilderness also suffered heavy losses. Countless experts were killed, turning into a rain of blood that scattered in the sky. All kinds of screams sounded like ghosts. These people were in complete despair. They had only read about this kind of dark upheaval in ancient books. They had never experienced it personally. When they read it back then, they thought it was just a legend. They never thought that one day they would also experience such dark turmoil. Eastern wilderness. The Yi family and the Gu family were also affected. Many elders and experts were killed or injured, causing their faces to turn gloomy. No, we can't be so passive. We have to gather together and counterattack. Otherwise, if we're defeated one by one, I'm afraid we'll really be finished. The Yi family's patriarch said in a deep voice. He quickly contacted the Gu family's patriarch, Queen Mother of the West, Alcade Sacred Leader, Dao East Sacred Leader, and the others to discuss. Soon, they decided to gather at the Jade Pool. The Jade Pool was extraordinary. Apart from the West Imperial Tower, the Jade Pool water was also very magical. A drop of Jade Pool water was said to be able to bring bones back to life. It could be said to be a life-saving sacred medicine. That was why they planned to go there. They would use the Jade Pool as their base camp to fight against the 10,000 ancient races. The Queen Mother of the West nodded. She joined forces with the two patriarchs of the Yi and Gu families and issued an order. Fellow humans, gather at the Jade Pool to fight against the 10,000 ancient races. Their voices turned into thunder and rolled in all directions. At this moment, all the sacred grounds, sects, and families heard it. Countless people gathered at the Jade Pool as if they had gone crazy. In order to prevent the ordinary cultivators from being affected, the Queen Mother of the West declared war on the 10,000 ancient races. Come to the Jade Pool to fight, determine victory and defeat. The three royal families of the nest of 10,000 dragons, Divine Phoenix Ridge, and Fire Cheelin Cave sneered when they heard it. You want to fight to the death? Fine, I'll fulfill your wish. I can catch all of you in one fell swoop. It'll save me the trouble of running around. The three royal families were fearless. The far ancient royals and the other far ancient race beings laughed coldly as well. Indeed, it was too troublesome to kill those holy lands one by one. After all, the true spirit world was simply too vast. Even for them, it would take a lot of time. Now that they were all gathered at the Jade Pool, things would be much easier. As long as they killed all the people from the Jade Lake, the whole world would be theirs. Let's go. The three imperial families led countless immemorial armies and flew toward the Jade Pool. At the same time, in the other holy lands, the experts of the various clans also gathered at the Jade Pool. For a time, the Jade Pool became the target of everyone in the world. The Yi clan and the Gu clan were the first to arrive. They asked if the Queen Mother could use the Western Imperial Tower. The Queen Mother of the West took a deep breath. The West Imperial Pagoda was rather special. It had never truly fallen asleep. If they were to attack the fairy pool, they would definitely alert the West Imperial Tower. Hearing this, the Yi family and the Gu family heaved a sigh of relief and nodded. They would not dare to attack the Gu family and the Yi family because the Void Mirror and the Celestial Emperor Cauldron would also awaken. At that time, our three extreme weapons will definitely be able to contend against them. Not necessarily. The Queen Mother of the West's expression was solemn. They would not be so stupid as to attack by force. They might not even use their extreme weapons. We still have to make all kinds of plans. It would be best to gather all the sacred lords and think of a plan together. They will be here soon. The Yi clan and the Gu clan leaders nodded. This time, they had brought many elders, invincible kings, and young geniuses. Yi, Wu Dao, Gu Santong, and the others were also here. However, the divine body of the Gu clan did not come. It was said that he had stayed with the Gu clan to guard the Jade Pool. This scene was rather surprising, because the divine body of the Gu clan was very mysterious and had almost never appeared in front of others. Soon, the sacred lords and sacred lords of the Eastern Barren Territory all arrived with their experts. The sacred lords of the Western Desert, Middle Ground, Nanling, and Northern Plains also arrived. In an instant, the Jade Pool became more and more lively, but there was no lively atmosphere at all. Everyone's expression was solemn and their faces were pale, because they knew that the 10,000 ancient races were about to arrive and a shocking final battle would unfold here. While the world was gathering at the Jade Pool, on the other side at the Black Demon Cliff, Lin Xian also learned about the situation outside through the array. His expression was incomparably solemn because the 10,000 ancient races were just too strong. With one strike, they had destroyed the Qingxia sacred ground, and then slaughtered the other sacred grounds and sections. Basically, none of the sacred grounds and sects could resist. Other than a few that had extreme weapons and were not attacked for the time being, the other sacred grounds and sects were all heavily injured. And now the world was gathering at the Jade Pool. It seemed that there would be a final battle. He had to do something. But until now, he had yet to find anything mysterious. Forget it, I'm not going. I'm exhausted. The Crimson Dragon sat on the ground. No, kid, stop. The demonic chi here is too terrifying. We can't resist it anymore. Indeed, in the depths of Blackwood Cliff, there was monstrous demonic chi all around. It was extremely terrifying. Even with Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon's strength, they had to deal with it with all their strength. Therefore, with every step they took, they had to expend a lot of energy. At this moment, the Crimson Dragon's body did not have much energy left. He could not walk at all. Lin Xian also sighed and sat down. All right, I'll rest here and recover my strength. He took out 2 divine crystals, held them in his hand, and absorbed them with all his might. At the same time, he frowned. This should not be. This was the place where the 9 Suns Sword Saint and the Great Demon died. How could there be nothing? Could it be that there was still a deeper place? He raised his head, and a golden light appeared in his eyes. He looked deeper with a solemn expression. That place was too terrifying. Probably even a sage could not enter. Even if he had the 9 Sun divine body, he would not be able to enter. Senior Nine's son. Now that the human race is about to be destroyed, the dark chaos is about to begin, Lin Xian prayed in a low voice. The Crimson Dragon shook his head. Don't say any more. It's useless. That old guy has been dead for God knows how many years. How could there be a response? Is the chaos about to begin again? Just as the Crimson Dragon finished speaking, a voice floated into his ears. Whoosh! The Crimson Dragon jumped up in fright. He floated in the void, and his hair stood on end. Damn it, who is it? Who is talking? Kid, are you trying to scare me? Lin Xian was also shocked. He turned his head and looked as if he was facing a great enemy. It's not me. Then who is it? It can't be, right? Could it be the ghost of old Ghost? Chapter 2847. Heavens, it said that a shocking battle happened here. Who knows how many people died? Damned brat, I told you, you shouldn't have come here. The Crimson Dragon wanted to escape. Lin Xian frowned. Could it be the remnant soul of the Nine-Sun Sword Saint? If that was the case, then there might be hope. The Crimson Dragon said, not necessarily. Kid, don't forget that there's a great demon here. What if it's the soul of that demon? We'll all be finished. We probably won't even be able to withstand one move. The Crimson Dragon didn't want to take the risk. The two of them felt their hair stand on end when they heard the voice. Senior Nine's son, is that you? Lin Xian asked quickly. At the same time, he activated the mysterious heavens, divine God, and scanned the surroundings. Soon, a faint voice sounded in his ears again. That's right, it's me. This is a remnant of my soul imprint. Senior, do you really have a remnant of your soul imprint? Lin Xian was wild with joy. He hurriedly said, the dark chaos has begun again. Senior, do you have any methods? Can you stop it? There is one method, but it depends on whether you can succeed or not. The voice of the Nine-Sun Sword Saint drifted over. What method? Lin Xian asked quickly. Walk inside and come to the place where I fell. I'll tell you. The place where you fell. Lin Xian was shocked. That was the place where the demonic energy was the thickest. He couldn't resist it at all. Not to mention him. Even a sage couldn't enter. The Nine-Sun Sword Saint said, don't worry. With my guidance, the demonic energy won't hurt you. Hearing this, Lin Xian heaved a sigh of relief. The Crimson Dragon at the side was skeptical. Kid, be careful. Why do I feel that something is wrong? Lin Xian said it's fine. I have to give it a try. As long as there's a chance, I won't give up. Indeed, Lin Xian urgently needed power to stop the dark chaos. Thus he walked forward. As expected, it was unknown whether or not it was the influence of the Nine-Yang Sword Saint soul. But wherever Lin Xian passed, the devilish energy would frantically retreat, opening a path for him. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian was even more elated. His speed was even faster as he turned into a stream of light and flew forward. The dark red divine dragon at the side and followed him. The two of them came to the depths of the black demon cliff. The surroundings were simply too terrifying. The terrifying demonic chi even carried with it the laws of the world that could pierce through saints. No wonder this place was called a forbidden area, because even if a saint were to come, he would probably not be able to withstand it. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon would never come here. There was a huge crater in front of him. It was shrouded in endless demonic chi, making it impossible to see what was inside. Lin Xian asked again in a clear voice, Senior Nine Sons, I have arrived. What should I do next? Do you see that deep hole? My body is still in that deep hole. Dig it out. Dig it out. Hearing this, Lin Xian was shocked. The Crimson Dragon's eyelids twitched wildly. The Nine-Yang Sword Saint's body was still there. It was truly unbelievable. How many tens of thousands of years had passed? Could it be because he cultivated the Nine-Yang divine body? This was really shocking. The nine-yang divine body was indeed too mysterious and terrifying. Lin Xian's figure flashed and jumped forward. The demonic qi in front of him quickly dispersed and retreated like the tide. There was a huge crater in front of him. He couldn't see the end of it, as if it was connected to hell. He shot out wisps of sword energy and probed downwards, quickly shuttling back and forth. After flying for tens of thousands of miles, his eyes finally lit up. Then, the sword energy turned into a huge dragon, wrapped around the thing below, and flew out quickly. Boom! When the corpse below came to the surface, the surrounding demonic qi rumbled rapidly. The ground cracked, and terrifying cracks appeared in the void, unable to withstand the pressure. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon also held their breaths. They felt as if there was an invisible force that was going to crush them to death. Damn it, it's so scary. He's been dead for tens of thousands of years, but his body still has such terrifying power. What level did the nine-yang sword saint reach when he was alive? He probably wasn't far from being a great emperor. The Crimson Dragon screamed in horror. Lin Xian also kept retreating. At the same time, the dragon's sword soul in his body roared. His body shone brightly as he used the nine-yang divine body. Soon, the corpse below trembled slightly as if it was reacting. It should be a mysterious connection between the nine-yang divine bodies. The terrifying pressure disappeared. Only then did the Crimson Dragon and Lin Xian let out a sigh of relief. Come over and grab my hand. Our two divine bodies can resonate with each other. You will know what to do next. Hearing that, Lin Xian walked over. He squatted down, stretched out his hand, and grabbed the corpse's hand. The corpse's flesh was gone, leaving only a skeleton. It was not an ordinary skeleton, but a golden skeleton. Every inch of the bones was golden, as if they were made of gold. Lin Xian grabbed the golden skeleton's hand and was about to ask what to do next. Suddenly, his pupils constricted because two spots of light suddenly lit up in the golden skeleton's eye sockets. The golden light was mixed with incomparable demonic qi. Not good, Lin Xian exclaimed. In the next moment, he screamed miserably. He hugged his head and roared crazily in pain. Damn brat, are you okay? The Crimson Dragon immediately rushed up when he saw that. However, he was soon sent flying by the surrounding demonic qi, and dragon blood flowed out of his body. Damn it, why did you attack? The Crimson Dragon roared crazily. That shouldn't be. Is the nine-yang sword saint trying to reincarnate? He knew that something was wrong. It couldn't be that simple. Ha! I am a great demon who has just been resurrected. Suddenly, a crazy roar sounded, causing the surrounding demonic qi to turn into a boundless black wave that pierced through the void. The Crimson Dragon's expression became incomparably ugly. A great demon, it's actually a great demon. His soul hasn't completely dissipated. That's too terrifying. Damn it, it's a conspiracy. The Crimson Dragon instantly understood. That soul should be the great demon's. For some reason, it had attached itself to the nine-yang sword saint's corpse. That was why it had spoken to him earlier. It seemed that the other party wanted to possess Lin Xian's body. However, the other party was probably too weak. Only by physical contact could it activate the possession. That was why the trap was set up. Lin Xian was caught off guard. In addition, he wanted to obtain power to stop the Dark Rebellion too much. That was why he fell for the trap. Brat, you have to persevere. The Crimson Dragon roared anxiously. He couldn't help it all. Just the demonic qi around him was enough to make him feel dangerous. This great demon didn't have the time to pay attention to him. Otherwise, he would have been killed by now. Therefore, he could only wait patiently. He hoped that Lin Xian's trump card would be able to kill this great demon. Chapter 2848. Lin Xian was struggling bitterly resisting the great demon's soul attack. Several figures appeared in other mysterious places of the world. Among them, an old voice appeared. Like a star, it descended in front of a huge mountain. Spiritual mountain. That's right, it's here. The old man revealed a smile. If someone was here and saw him, they would definitely exclaim. Especially those from Immortal Palace, because this old man was the old palace master of Immortal Palace, Xiajiu. Spiritual Mountain was an extremely terrifying place, and it was related to a great emperor. Dong Hua, great emperor, an extremely terrifying existence, had left behind a Dharma treasure in the Spirit Mountain. It wasn't any weaker than an extreme Tao weapon. At this moment, Xiajiu stood in front of Spiritual Mountain, his eyes flickering. The investiture of the gods should be in Spiritual Mountain. At the same time, several other figures flew out from the mysterious Reincarnation Mountain and floated to various places of the true spirit world. On the other side, the Jade Lake Sacred Ground was extremely nervous. The Sacred Lords, sect masters, great elders, experts, and geniuses of various sacred grounds and sects had all gathered at the Jade Lake Sacred Ground. Luckily, as an extreme Tao sacred ground, the Jade Lake Sacred Ground was large enough to accommodate so many people. This scene was even more lively than the previous peaches of Immortality Banquet, but no one was in the mood to talk. Everyone's face was filled with worry. Some of them even had blood on their bodies. Wu Hua Wuchen, the great Xia Prince, Princess Divine Wind, and the Nine Li Prince all had blood on their bodies. They were all heavily injured. Heavens, it can't be. Even Wu Qin was heavily injured. He was one of the titled geniuses. It seemed like the Thousand Buddha Temple was also heavily injured. Queen Mother of the West, you must avenge us. The people of Five Elements Palace cried as they came in. Their holy lord had been directly killed. 5 elements, sacred lord, had fallen. This was like a bolt from the blue, shocking all the martial artists. Not only 5 elements, sacred lord, but 9 firmaments, sacred lord, was also shocked. He had fallen. The new sacred lord, 10,000 Thunder's face, was also pale. Fortunately, he was still alive. The other sacred lords and sect masters were also heavily injured. None of them were in good condition. The only one that was unharmed was the Jade Lake Sacred Ground, because they weren't too affected, but what awaited them was a storm of attacks. Boom! Boom! The heavens and earth trembled. The sky was like a painting, trembling rapidly. Endless spiritual energy surged, and a terrifying aura surged. In the distance, the sky pressed down, causing all the cultivators to raise their heads and look up. Not good. The 10,000 ancient races, are here. At this moment, they were extremely terrified. Was the final battle about to begin? However, they couldn't fight back at all. Other than the sage, the other party also had the 10,000 dragons portrait. That was an extreme weapon. How could they resist it? After all, the human race had no lack of apex weapons. The Jade Lake's West Emperor Pagoda, the Gu family's Void Mirror, the Yi family's Celestial Emperor Cauldron, and the Skyscraper's Dragon Emperor Sword, Yao Guang's Dragon Pattern Cauldron, and Julie Dynasty's Julie Painting. It could be said that there were many extreme grade weapons, but they couldn't use them at all, because the nest of 10,000 dragons was the first to activate the extreme weapons, cutting off their connection with the extreme weapons. Unless the other party went crazy and attacked with extreme weapons without any regard for their lives. Only then would the other extreme weapons be activated and resurrected. Apart from that, it would be very difficult for them to use their extreme weapons again. This caused them to be at a disadvantage even before the battle began. Human ants, kneel down and accept your death. In the distance, dark cloud-like figures descended. The sky was filled with a black mass as countless ancient armies rushed over. They looked down like gods and demons. Killing intent surged from their bodies and pierced through the 9 heavens. It directly caused the peerless array formation below to rumble nonstop. Are they all here? Very good. Just nice. I'll catch all of you in one fell swoop, so that I won't be hunted down everywhere. The sage of the nest of 10,000 dragons sneered. Behind him, the other dozen or so sages also emitted a cold aura. Divine chains of order danced in the sky, bringing with them a powerful pressure. Damn it, are you really going to attack and kill us all? Do you really think that the human race is easy to bully? The Yi family patriarch roared angrily. The Gu family patriarch also snorted coldly. That's right, if forced into a corner, we'll fight to the death. We can use extreme weapons at all costs. If that's the case, you won't be able to gain any benefits. Everyone, what can't we sit down and discuss? Must we make such a big fuss? Once the extreme weapons are used, the people will be plunged into misery and suffering. In the end, other than the Holy Land families with extreme weapons, the other factions will be annihilated. The 10,000 ancient races are no exception. Is this the outcome you want to see? The Queen Mother of the West also spoke in a deep voice. Sit down and talk? What's there to talk about? This piece of land originally belonged to us. The true spirit world was also controlled by us. It's just that we fell into a deep sleep, so you humans took advantage of us. Now, we've revived and regained control of the entire world. You humans, retreat and become our slaves. We can give you a way out. The powerhouses of the nest of 10,000 dragons, Divine Phoenix Ridge, and Fire Cheelin Cave shouted coldly. Other than that, there was nothing to discuss. Domineering, incomparably domineering. They didn't put the human race in their eyes at all. Damn it, let's fight it out. Some powerhouses gritted their teeth. They had never suffered such a thing. Let them become slaves? They might as well let them die. The others also roared angrily. In the sky, the 10,000 ancient races sneered. Fight it out with us? Do you have the qualifications? Humph, in a one-on-one fight without using extreme weapons or holy weapons. You're not my match at all. A grand elder of the 5 Elements Palace stood out. Their sacred lord had been killed by the other party. How could they tolerate this? They had to take revenge. In a one-on-one fight with just you, I'll fulfill your wish. In the sky a figure descended, like a fiend god. He was tall and had a monstrous bloody light on his body. Behind him was a blood-colored moon that was bobbing up and down. It was the primordial king of the Blood Moon clan. Come out, lowly human race. I can kill you with one hand. The primordial king of the Blood Moon clan was very powerful. I'll kill you. The grand elder of the 5 Elements Palace walked out. His robes fluttered, and the power of the 5 elements floated in front of him, forming a 5 elements mountain that crushed the void. This grand elder was also an invincible king. Moreover, he was a very powerful, veteran, invincible king. At this moment, he went all out without holding back and struck out with the power of the 5 elements. He activated the 5 elements mountain and quickly blasted it forward. The terrifying power was like a vast ocean, sweeping across the void and pressing forward. Reckless. Blood Moon Slash, the primordial king of the Blood Moon clan, sneered as his bloodline power surged. With a wave of his arm, the blood-colored moon above his head spun rapidly, turning into a blood-colored long saber that directly slashed down. Puff! The 5 Elements mountain was split in half. The Grand Elder of the 5 Elements Palace was also split in half from the middle. Blood dyed the sky red. What? He was killed. Killed in one strike. No way. How could the difference be so huge? Everyone was terrified, especially those from the 5 Elements Palace. Their bodies were trembling. This was impossible. That was one of their Grand Elders. How powerful was he? But now he was killed by the other party in one strike. Moreover, the other party was not a saint at all. He did not even use a sacred weapon and was killed just like that. This scene caused everyone to fall into despair. The other sacred lords, sect leaders, ye family patriarch, Queen Mother of the West, and the others all frowned. The other party was indeed powerful, as expected of one of the terrifying royal races. Chapter 2849. The Blood Moon Clan's primordial king sneered disdainfully as he looked at the corpse on the ground. He looked forward, his ice-cold eyes like two blood-colored bolts of lightning as he stared at the human cultivators in the Jade Lake Holy Lands. Who else is unconvinced? If you want to die, then come out. I'll do it. An expert from the All Beginnings Holy Land walked out. He was also an invincible king. Primal chaos energy revolved around his body, forming a primal chaos battle armor. The spear in his hand was formed from primal chaos light. He was extremely powerful. As he walked, he tore apart the sky and the earth, causing the earth to tremble. It was clear that this was an extremely terrifying, invincible king. Elder, do your best. Kill him. The disciples of the All Beginnings Holy Land crazily shouted. The other human cultivators also clenched their fists and paid close attention. Although the All Beginnings Holy Land wasn't an extreme Tao Holy Land, it was still an extremely terrifying Holy Land. The primal chaos energy they cultivated had a great origin and was incomparably terrifying. Thinking about it, they should be able to kill him. The primal chaos energy was indeed a mystical ability. Unfortunately, you haven't cultivated it to perfection. The Blood Moon Clan's primordial king coldly snorted in disdain. In the next instant, the blood-colored moon above his head revolved once more, turning into a blood-colored saber that slashed down. This scene was exactly the same as before. Therefore, the hearts of the human cultivators leaped to their throats. Buzz, it was the primal chaos spear. With a furious roar, the All Beginnings Holy Land's expert brandished the spear in his hand. It turned into a beam of primal chaos light that flashed out. The void rumbled as a beam of divine light soared into the clouds, illuminating the 9 heavens and 10 earths. An unimaginable power surged out, causing everyone to tremble. How powerful! As expected of the primal chaos energy, it was absolutely powerful. Everyone cried out in alarm. The two energies collided in the sky, creating a resounding sound that tore through the void. It was blocked. It was blocked by the blood-colored moon. When the All Beginnings Holy Land's cultivators saw this scene, they all cheered. The All Beginnings Holy Land's expert also breathed a sigh of relief. The other party was only SO. Did he really think that he could block his attack? Suddenly, the All Beginnings Holy Land's expert's body trembled, and deep fear appeared in his eyes. That was because a voice had sounded behind him. Damn it! He wanted to turn around, but before he could do anything, a hand reached out and shattered his primal chaos battle armor, then grabbed his heart and ripped it out. Bang! The palm pierced through his body and crushed his heart. Pung! The body of the All Beginnings Holy Land's expert was torn apart. The one who attacked was an expert from the Blood Moon Clan. Although his opponent had blocked his first attack, he was still killed by the second attack. Killing with one strike, there was no chance of survival. This scene made the people of the Jade Lake sacred ground despair. How could he be so strong? In 2 moves, he killed another invincible king. Moreover, he was the incomparably powerful invincible king. Could it be that the 10,000 ancient races were so heaven-defying? Was there no one who could contend against them? Damn it, I don't believe it. The 4 symbols, sacred Lord, stepped forward. He possessed the power of the dragon elephant, which was extremely terrifying. With a stomp of his foot, a 1,000,000-li-long crack was formed, about to stomp the entire thing in half. Let me do it this time. Another divine shadow descended from the sky. This person was similar to a giant. His body was covered in earth-like patterns. He was a true member of the stone race. This was the Stone Race's primordial king. Both of them stood out. Both of them were invincible kings who specialized in close combat. At this moment, their confrontation was truly eye-catching. Dragon Elephant, Divine Fist. The four symbols, Sacred Lord roared and brandished his fists. His fists transformed into dragon elephants that danced in the sky, crushing everything in their path. How terrifying! As expected of a sacred, Lord-level king. He was much stronger than the other invincible kings. The human martial artists exclaimed repeatedly. The eyes of the primordial kings also flickered. However, the Stone Race's primordial king only sneered in disdain. Today, I will show you what power is. Buzz! Mysterious, blood-colored patterns blossomed on his body as he activated his bloodline power. With a loud roar, he stretched out his palms, covering the sky as he grabbed forward. Destroy! The stone hands grabbed the dragon elephant in the sky and forcefully pulled. The dragon elephant howled in grief and was torn apart. Not only that, but this astonishing power passed through the dragon elephant and directly affected the four symbols' Sacred Lord. With a bang, the four symbols' Sacred Lord's arm trembled violently like a piece of cloth before exploding. The four symbols' Sacred Lord screamed and flew backward. Half of his body shattered. Damn it! The four symbols' Sacred Lord roared and retreated into the jade lake sacred ground like a shooting star. His face was extremely pale. The Stone Race's primordial king sneered in disdain when he saw the scene. Trash! He spat out these two words. Everyone was shocked, and their expressions were ugly. Even a sacred Lord-level expert had been defeated. He was no match for the other party. In fact, he couldn't even resist a single move. These people were simply too powerful and terrifying. The Stone Race wasn't an ordinary race. They were one of the most ferocious races among the primordial kings. Moreover, this primordial king bloodline power was simply too strong. The four symbols' Sacred Lord's defeat was not unjustified. A living fossil said in a deep voice. They knew that it wasn't that the four symbols' Sacred Lord was weak, but that the other party was simply too strong. He had far surpassed the Sacred Lord level. Damn it, I'll attack. An expert from the Tao East sacred ground walked out. However, the primordial kings snorted coldly. Lowly humans, you're no match for us. There's no need to attack one by one. Let's fight to the death. In the sky, the 12 sages released divine chains of order that pierced through the ground. The primordial kings were also eyeing covetously. They were prepared to end the battle quickly and not waste any more time. In the next moment, the 12 sages attacked. The azure dragon beneath their feet spat out another ball of light that blasted onto the supreme array formation. Instantly, the array formation shattered, forming a huge black hole. Countless primordial kings charged in. Damn it, let's fight to the death. On the human side, the sacred lords and sect masters also roared in anger. They knew that they could no longer retreat. They could only fight with their backs against the wall. These people also attacked. At this moment, they didn't hold back. Even the Yi family patriarch, the Gu family patriarch, the Queen Mother of the West, and the others joined the battle. In an instant, an earth-shattering battle broke out. At Black Demon Cliff, Lin Xian was still screaming in pain. He was currently suffering a great deal of pain. In his mind, a black mass of Mo Qi transformed into a ferocious figure that seemed to want to destroy his soul. It wanted to take his body for itself. 9 Yang divine body, dragon sword soul, ha 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 ha. After obtaining your body, everything will be mine. In my previous life, I couldn't become a great emperor, but this time, with the 9 Yang divine body and dragon sword soul, I will definitely become a great emperor. Moreover, I can go even further. He laughed wildly as if he had gone mad. Damn it, go to hell. Lin Xian roared crazily as he mobilized the dragon's sword soul to fight against it. The demonic figure sneered. The dragon sword soul is powerful, but you can't unleash its full power. So now you can't hurt me at all. If you die, I'll make good use of your body. The demonic figure let out a ferocious sound. Lin Xian roared crazily. In his mind, a golden vortex spun, forming a pair of golden eyes that looked down at the front like a god. Damn it, what is this thing? The demonic figure trembled, and a hint of fear appeared on its face. Chapter 2850. The golden eyes became more and more mysterious, and they even began to burn the black figure's soul. The black figure screamed and struggled frantically. Damn it, what kind of eyes are these? How can they be a threat to me? He couldn't believe it. The next moment he screamed in horror. Could it be those eyes? Damn, brat, you actually have those eyes. He screamed crazily as if he had encountered something terrible. I don't believe it. So what if you have these eyes? You're too weak. You're no match for me. He pounced forward, but in the next moment he screamed and flew backward, because his soul had been ignited. His soul imprint was already broken. Now that it had been ignited, his injuries were even more serious. Moreover, there was a dragon sword soul around, eyeing him covetously and attacking him from time to time. This caused the demonic figure to be extremely miserable. With a roar, he wanted to leave Lin Xian's mind. However, how could Lin Xian let him leave? Lin Xian had suffered so much pain before, and now he wouldn't let him go. Humph! Lin Xian crazily circulated his soul power without any regard for his life. He even mobilized the great dragon sword soul. The great dragon sword spirit roared and gradually merged with the golden eye. The dragon sword soul turned into a giant dragon, and the pair of golden eyes became the eyes of a giant dragon. Buzz! An even more violent force burst out and instantly enveloped the demonic figure. Damn it! Impossible! You can't kill me! He screamed crazily, but wisps of white smoke were emitted. In the end, he turned into a cloud of black smoke and was completely destroyed. Phew, it was finally over. Lin Xian also fell to the ground with a plop and closed his eyes. This scene shocked the Crimson Dragon. He quickly flew over. Brat, are you okay? Seeing Lin Xian's pale face, he was worried. It seemed that he had fainted. He dripped a drop of dragon blood into Lin Xian's body. At the same time, he took out a soul recovery treasure and fed it to Lin Xian. Then, he waited patiently at the side. Lin Xian finally opened his eyes under the effects of the dragon blood and soul recovery treasures. The Crimson Dragon asked, "Boy, is that you? Or was it that devil?" Lin Xian smiled and said weakly, "Of course it was me. I killed that guy." "That's great." The Crimson Dragon let out a sigh of relief. At this moment, a faint voice was heard once again. "I didn't expect you to be able to destroy the soul of a great demon. Looks like I really underestimated you. Who was it?" The Crimson Dragon was scared out of its wits, and Lin Xian's face turned even paler. Heavens, could it be that he's not dead yet? Then the voice said, "Don't be afraid. This time it really is my soul, the Nine Sun Sword Saint's soul," Imprint said weakly. "I fought with the great demon, and we perished together. However, the two of us didn't die completely. His body was destroyed, and my body was left behind because of the Nine Sun Divine Body. His soul entered my body and fought with me for thousands of years. In the end, we intertwined and fused with each other. Just like that, tens of thousands of years later, we became what you saw just now. If you didn't appear, I'm afraid that in another few hundred years, the two of us might have disappeared. However, if you appeared and he succeeded in taking over, it would be another disaster. But fortunately, you managed to destroy her." Hearing this, Lin Xian let out a sigh of relief. He took out a few more heavenly treasures from the black earth and swallowed them to recover his soul. He drank a few drops of spirit liquid. The next moment, he felt his soul recover quite a bit. Then he asked Senior, "What should I do to save the darkness this time?" The Nine Sun Sword Saint Soul sighed. "I'm too weak to help you now. Even if I go out, I can't do anything. However, my soul is weak, but my body can help you." "My body can help? How can it help?" Lin Xian asked. He felt that there was a way, so he couldn't wait to ask. "Enter my divine body and use this large Success Nine Sun divine body to obtain his power. Perhaps it can help you." "You mean use this body?" Lin Xian was extremely shocked. This body was a large Success Nine Sun divine body. How terrifying was a large Success Nine Sun divine body? It was absolutely unimaginable. One had to know that the Nine Sun Sword Saint had been dead for tens of thousands of years, but his body hadn't been completely destroyed. Even a terrifying existence like the Great Demon didn't have a body, but the Nine Sun divine body was preserved. Although only a skeleton was left, one could imagine how heaven-defying it was. But how to enter it? Lin Xian was puzzled. Could it be that my soul left my body and entered this skeleton? He really couldn't understand. Moreover, after entering, would he be able to control this body? Then wouldn't he be invincible in the future? It's not as heaven-defying as you think. The Nine Sun Sword Saint Soul said weakly, "You must cooperate with my soul to enter it. Once you use it, my soul will quickly dissipate and eventually vanish. At that time, you won't be able to use the power of a large Success divine body." So that's how it is. Lin Xian finally understood. He asked solemnly, "Senior, how long can your soul last?" From the looks of it, the Nine Sun Sword Saint Soul was extremely weak. He probably wouldn't be able to last long. He didn't want the Nine Sun Sword Saint to die as soon as he left. There wasn't much time left, but it was still enough to intimidate the 10,000 ancient races. Moreover, if you enter my large Success divine body without using any divine abilities, just the strength of my physical body will be extremely powerful. Using the strength of my physical body won't consume my soul. Only when I use divine abilities will my soul be consumed. Moreover, the degree of consumption of my soul will be different depending on the degree of use. The Nine Sun Sword Saint quickly explained. Lin Xian understood after hearing that. He took out some natural treasures from the black earth and said, "Senior, these are some soul recovery tonics. They are all natural treasures. Take some." He had taken out all of his soul recovery treasures. He did it so that the Nine Sun Sword Saint's soul could last a little longer. He knew that the Nine Sun Sword Saint's injuries were too serious. Moreover, after tens of thousands of years, it was impossible for him to be revived. All he could do was to extend his life. It was useless. He wouldn't be able to extend it for more than a few days. The Nine Sun Sword Saint shook his head. "Logically speaking, I'm not a great emperor. It's impossible for me to live for so long. Even my soul can't. It's just that my soul and that great model's soul fused together and some changes occurred. That's why I could survive for so long. However, at this moment, the great demon's soul has been destroyed. I won't be able to survive for long." Despite saying that, Lin Xian still handed all of the treasures over to Lin Fan, regardless of the consequences. Even if it could be extended by 1 second, it would be a good thing. Chapter 2851. Senior, there's no time to lose. Let's fuse quickly. Lin Xian said anxiously. The situation outside was very urgent. He could no longer contact Morong Qingqing and Xinjingqiu. They must be in danger. He had to get out quickly. "All right," the Nine Sun Sword Saint Soul said after consuming those natural treasures. "The process of fusing is very difficult. Moreover, it's very painful. It's even more painful than cultivating the divine Nanyang body, because you have to fuse with this skeleton. I know that no matter how difficult and painful it is, I have to give it a try." Lin Xian's eyes were firm and his voice was sonorous. Following the guidance of the nine-sun sword Saint Soul, Lin Xian began to fuse. The process was too painful. Even Lin Xian screamed crazily. The Crimson Dragon's scalp went numb. Damn it, what kind of experience is this? He didn't know. He shrank his neck and shrank to the side. The process of fusing wasn't slow. It was very fast. However, it lasted for several hours. Finally, Lin Xian's body fused with the skeleton of the divine Nine-Yang body, forming a golden light. It was too bright and dazzling. It was so bright that the Crimson Dragon couldn't open his eyes. He was like a sun god, emitting thousands of rays of light. "Ruse along, let's go," Lin Xian said in a deep voice. The golden light on his body dimmed a little, but it was still very bright. The Crimson Dragon looked up and was stunned. In a daze, he seemed to think that the Nine-Sun Sword Saint had really come back to life. However, when he saw Lin Xian's blurry face in the golden light, he heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, it wasn't a possession. It was still that kid. "Let's go." The Crimson Dragon nodded. His body flashed, and he arrived beside Lin Xian. Lin Xian rose into the air. Wherever he passed, the black demonic qi receded quickly like the tide. In the next moment, he stomped his foot, and the void cracked open. Endless light spread out from under his feet, as if the sun had exploded. A beam of golden light spread out from under his feet and surged into the distance, turning into a golden dragon. Like a divine bridge, it carried him and flew out of the Black Demon Cliff. Outside the Black Demon Cliff, the 5 Archean kings were still waiting there, and there were hundreds of Archean creatures around them. Their auras were strong, and every single one of them was a powerful being. At this moment, these people were working together with the formation to seal off Black Demon Cliff completely. Suddenly, these ancient life forms frowned and looked into the distance. The 5 archaic kings also opened their eyes. They sat cross-legged in the void, and their eyes were as bright as divine lamps. There was a situation. They were transmitting their voices to one another. Sure enough, at the Black Demon Cliff ahead, black demon chi rolled and spread to both sides. Something was coming out. These people were extremely surprised. In the next moment, they saw a golden light fly out from the Black Demon Cliff and turn into a giant dragon divine bridge that crawled in the sky. What was that? These people acted as if they were facing a great enemy. Could it be that the brat was about to come out? Or was it something else? They did not know, but they were not afraid. There were 5 Archean kings here, and their strength was heaven-defying. Be careful, that brat might be coming out, the 5 Archean kings said coldly. The others also had solemn expressions. Sure enough, in the next moment, a golden figure stepped out of the golden path. He walked very slowly, but in a few steps he came out of the Black Demon Cliff from a very far place. "Who are you?" Seeing this figure covered in golden light, these ancient life forms were puzzled. One of the Archean kings even snorted coldly. The aura emitted from the other party made them extremely uncomfortable. Is he coming out? What a fast speed! The golden figure muttered to himself in a low voice. In the next moment, he swept his gaze in all directions and snorted coldly. Sure enough, he was still here. How reckless! What? It's that brat! One of the Archean kings screamed. His eyes were painted with silver flames, and he finally saw the situation inside the golden light. It's that brat. That's right, it's him. The dragon beside him is still there. It's that brat. How did he become like this? Everyone was shocked. The aura on the other party's body seemed to have become too tyrannical. No matter how tyrannical he is, he will still die facing us. The 5 Archean kings laughed sinisterly, and one of the silver figures walked out. He was the Archean king of the Silver Lightning race. At this moment, silver lightning surrounded his body, and there were even silver flames jumping, forming a lotus flower that shone behind him. "Brat, I didn't expect you to come out so quickly." You're really impatient. Are you unable to stay in there any longer? Don't worry, you won't be able to survive outside. Even if you kneel and beg for mercy, I won't let you go. Since you dare to kill the prodigy of the Silver Lightning race, I will make your ending extremely miserable. The Archean king of the Silver Lightning race said in a sinister voice. He swore that he would torture the other party, first before killing him. Then he would send him to the nest of 10,000 dragons. Buzz, the Archean king of the Silver Lightning race's body, shone brightly. He stretched out a palm, and silver lightning shot into the sky. It was as if a lightning beast had been resurrected, and it directly enveloped Lin Xian. In the next moment, it grabbed Lin Xian. Ha ha ha, these people laughed proudly. What Central Emperor? What young prodigy? In front of them, he was still an ant. That's right. How could a mere human warrior be compared to their lord? These Archean creatures laughed loudly. Bang! Suddenly, an earth-shattering sound rang out. That large silver palm smashed open, and light flew in all directions. The Archean king of the Silver Lightning race roared crazily. Blood dyed the sky red, and his palm was torn into pieces. You want to catch me? Do you have the ability? Lin Xian snorted coldly. Damn it, how is this possible? How could you become so powerful? The Archean king of the Silver Lightning race was stunned. The other Archean creatures were also shocked and in disbelief. The other party actually came out and injured the Archean king. This was unbelievable. One had to know that no matter how powerful the other party was, he was only a young prodigy. Even if he was powerful, he would at most have about 27,000 to 28,000 Archean power. But the Archean king had 50,000 Archean power. The gap between the two sides was too big. A primordial king could squash these young geniuses to death with a single finger. But now, the ant in their eyes had injured the Archean king. Damn it, impossible, I don't believe it. What did you use? Sacred weapon? The Archean king of the Silver Lightning race roared crazily. The silver stores in the sky regrouped and formed his arm. Buzz! He reached out his palm, grabbed a silver longsword, and charged over. Go to hell, brat. No matter what you use, you won't be able to defeat me. He was furious. He couldn't tolerate being injured by an ant. He wanted to split the other party in half first and leave him with only one breath. The silver great sword flickered with incomparable lightning as it slashed down from the sky. This attack was absolutely terrifying. No one in the younger generation could resist it. Lin Xian looked at the great sword and sneered disdainfully. He clenched his hand into a fist and punched out. It was simple and direct without any fancy moves. With a boom, the silver greatsword was shattered into pieces, turning into lightning that scattered in all directions. Then, Lin Xian punched the Archean king of the Silver Lightning race again. Puff! The Archean king of the Silver Lightning race's body was torn into pieces. Chapter 2852. What? Killed? That was impossible. The other primordial kings and primordial creatures were all stunned when they saw this scene. They were stunned in the void. How was that possible? That was a primordial king. He was extremely powerful, but now he was killed by a single punch, and by a young descendant of the human race. They could not believe the scene. Damn it, this kid is strange. Hurry up and kill him. The other primordial kings roared. The other primordial creatures also charged over crazily. Was this the power of a greater success divine body? Lin Xian looked at the terrifying figures around him. He did not move at all. Instead, he stood in the void. He lowered his head and looked at his hands. His eyes flickered. It was too powerful. The power contained in this great success divine body was too terrifying. He did not use any magic at all in that punch just now. Just the strength of his physical body was enough to kill a primordial king. It was really shocking. It seemed that he could fight with a sage. Lin Xian was shocked. Don't worry, kid. Although he has been dead for many years, this divine body can't unleash its full power. However, the remaining power can still fight with a sage. It won't be a problem for you to kill a sage. The 9-Sun Sword Saint's soul said weakly. Hearing this, Lin Xian was even more shocked. Could he kill a sage? He clenched his fists, and a glimmer of hope appeared in his eyes. Great! This way, he would have a chance to stop the dark turmoil. While Lin Xian was thinking about these things, the surrounding primordial creatures were still charging over. The other 2 primordial kings also charged over quickly. They held terrifying ancient treasures in their hands that tore through heaven and earth. A terrifying light enveloped Lin Xian. Go to hell, brat. Boom! Lin Xian waved his fists, and they were like suns that blasted in all directions. The bodies of the dozens of Archean life forms that were charging over were shattered into pieces. Then they were enveloped by the 9-Sun divine fire, burned, and turned into nothingness. They did not even have time to scream. The ancient treasures in the hands of the 2 primordial kings also cracked in half with a bang. The 2 of them were also sent flying. Their bodies, which were covered in cracks, exploded with a loud bang. No, the 2 of them screamed crazily, their eyes filled with fear. Who would have thought that the other party would be so terrifying? A single strike had shattered both of their bodies, making it impossible for them to reassemble. Damn it, run. There was definitely something wrong with this kid. Hurry up and report it to the patriarch. Their 2 souls escaped as if they had gone mad. However, they did not take more than a few steps before they shattered with a loud bang. The reason for that was because Lin Xian's punch had not only destroyed their physical bodies, it had also completely annihilated their souls. Not good, run. The other 2 Archean kings and the surrounding Archean creatures felt their scalps going numb upon seeing this. Their eyes were filled with fear as they turned around and ran into the distance. Now, they were no longer as arrogant as before. Previously, when they surrounded this place, they thought that they could easily capture the other party. But now, they wished they could grow a pair of wings and quickly escape from here. As for capturing the other party, they didn't even dare to think about it. The other party was simply too powerful. Killing a primordial king was no different from squashing an ant. How could they fight against him? If you want to leave, then stay. Lin Xian snorted coldly. A golden light suddenly erupted, turning into a divine rainbow that carried terrifying flames, completely enveloping the entire sky. Boom! 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 This was the 9 Suns divine fire formed by a greater success divine body. Even a sage would not dare to easily contend against it, let alone these Archean creatures. Soon, the 2 Archean kings and hundreds of other Archean creatures screamed in the raging flames. Their bodies were ignited, and their souls were burning. It was impossible to extinguish the flames. In the end, all of the Archean creatures turned into ashes and disappeared into thin air. The 2 Archean kings were not spared either. In an instant, all of the Archean creatures were killed, and all of this was only a matter of a few moves. Was it settled? The Crimson Dragon was dumbfounded. He did not expect Lin Xian to have such terrifying means after fusing with the 9 Suns Sword Saint's greater success divine body. This was not inferior to a sage at all. Beside him, Lin Xian also took a deep breath. He said to Ruzalong, "Let's go to the jade pool quickly." Then he turned into a wisp of golden light, wrapped the Crimson Dragon, and directly pierced through the void, flying quickly in the direction of the jade pool. At this moment, the jade pool was incomparably tragic. The void split open, the earth sank, and a terrifying sea of blood surged in the surroundings. It was a scene of destruction. The martial artists of the various sacred grounds and sects of the human race were fighting with the army of the 10,000 Archean races. The momentum shook the sky, and it was incomparably miserable. In the sky, the Archean creatures sneered. Terrifying claws with terrifying bloodline power descended from the sky. Ancient treasures emitted terrifying auras as they attacked. On the side of the human race, there were martial artists who fell at every moment. There were young disciples, and there were also experts of the older generation. Lowly humans don't struggle anymore. In the sky, the sage's voice sounded. In front of us, you are just ants. There's no possibility of resisting at all. This voice carried a monstrous divine might, causing the bodies of the human race martial artists to tremble. They couldn't help but want to kneel down. Another sage's voice sounded. Now, put down your weapons, kneel on the ground, and welcome us. You can get a way out. Otherwise, only death awaits all of you. Think it through obediently. Otherwise, the human race will be exterminated. An even more ferocious voice sounded. In the sky, divine chains of order pierced through the 8 desolates. Despicable human, go to hell. Endless laws danced in the air again. A sage attacked and directly killed 3 sect leaders. This scene made all the human race martial artists despair. Damn it, where are our sages? Many people gritted their teeth and roared crazily. The patriarchs of the Yi and Gu families said that they were fighting in the outer realm. That's right, it wasn't that there were no sages on the human race's side. They had also attacked and fought with the Archean sages. However, the battle between sages happened in the outer realm, and they couldn't see it. However, occasionally, a piece of the laws would tear down from the sky, and the terrifying scene caused by it made them extremely terrified. The extent of the battle was probably not something they could imagine. Lowly humans, don't be wishful thinking. So what if you have sages? You are no match for us at all. These Archean kings sneered. They were all sages, but sages were also divided into levels and strengths. How could the other party's human race sages be compared to their Archean sages? In this battle, the human race would undoubtedly lose, and they would once again rule the land. Boom! Suddenly, in the endless 9 heavens, a rumble sounded, and 10,000 bolts of lightning descended. Immediately after, blood splattered, and the void within 1,000,000 miles was shattered. Chapter 2853. Not good. Seeing that drop of blood fall, all the figures below screamed in horror. Not only the humans, but the ancient creatures also fled crazily, because the blood here was too terrifying. A single drop could crush the heavens. Sacred blood. This was the blood of a sage. They screamed crazily. Had the outcome of the battle above been decided? As everyone fled, they looked up at the sky. In the sky, more and more sacred blood gathered and shattered the void, forming a terrifying nomological energy that danced in the air. No one dared to approach. Some of the ancient creatures and human cultivators that retreated too slowly were directly torn apart by this energy. Boom! A figure descended from the sky. It was an old man. Damn it! No! The people of the Tao, one sacred ground, roared crazily. This was because this was one of their sacred ninjas. They just didn't expect their sacred ninjas to be injured. The people of the human race were filled with despair. The ancient creatures, on the other hand, raised their heads and laughed. Ha ha ha, did you see that? Even if you're all sacred ninjas, you can't do it. That's right. You lowly humans are no match for us. Hurry up and kneel down, and we'll spare your lives. Otherwise, you can only go to hell. Crazy laughter sounded, and the faces of the humans turned pale. The sacred ninjas in the sky floated down. He wasn't dead, only injured. However, at this moment, his expression was incomparably ugly. Boom! At this moment, the void split open, and another figure fell down. This time, it was the ancient creatures turned to have ugly expressions, because the sacred ninjas who fell this time was their sacred ninjas. This sacred ninjas also had blood on his body as he shattered the void. What was going on? Their sacred ninjas were injured. Damn it, these ancient creatures roared crazily. On the other hand, the humans regained hope. In the next moment, several figures flashed quickly, divided into two factions. On the 10,000 ancient races side, there were 12 people with cold expressions. On the human side, there were only 7 sacred ninjas. Among them, 4 were injured. On the sacred ninjas side, 3 were injured. In comparison, the humans were still at a disadvantage. What was even more terrifying was that the 10,000 dragons portrait had not been used yet. That was an extreme weapon. Once it was used, the sacred ninjas would not be able to resist at all. Hurry up and kneel down and submit. You have no chance of winning. The 12 saints were like gods looking down on the earth. On the human side, their faces were gloomy. Among them, the saints of the human race had a solemn expression. The other sacred masters, sect masters, and young warriors all had pale faces. His face was filled with despair. Could it be that he was really going to lose? The head of the Yi clan snorted coldly. What kind of joke was this? If you have the ability, then kill us all. Otherwise, we would never give in. Kill! One of the Yi family's grand elders also roared and charged forward. Golden aura surged from his body as he soared into the sky like a golden god of war. In the sky, the saint of the nest of 10,000 dragons sneered in disdain. He pointed out with a finger and directly killed the Yi family's grand elder. Puff! The supreme elder's body was pierced through, and he fell to the ground, twitching nonstop. He was no longer breathing. Reckless ants. If you're still not convinced, I'll use my extreme Dao weapon to kill all of you. The saints of the nest of 10,000 dragons were like gods and demons. Damn it, he really deserved to die. All the human ancient martial art practitioners roared madly. Could it be that they were really going to be killed here today? Even the 7 saints had ugly expressions on their faces. The other party had many more saints than them. If they continued to fight, they would probably die as well. Quickly retreat to the Jade Lake. The Queen Mother of the West shouted coldly and quickly retreated with everyone. Murong Chingching's small face was cold. Her white clothes were stained with blood, and there were a few terrifying cracks on her body. They were caused by the ancient prodigy's sneak attack. The 1-pound Shinjingqiu was also injured. It wasn't just the 2 of them. Yi Wu Dao, Wu Qin, Wu Hua, Gu Santong, and the others were all injured. It could be said that they were still very heaven-defying that they hadn't been killed in the battle. So what if they retreated to the Jade Lake? Did they think that a mere Jade Lake's sacred ground could protect the lives of ants like them? In the sky, the ancient creatures looked at this scene and sneered. They didn't move at all. Azure Dragon Break. The 12 saints formed seals with their palms. The azure dragon under their feet absorbed the energy of millions of miles and emitted a beam of light that rushed down. It caused the Jade Lake, sacred ground, to tremble. Many people inside vomited blood, and even the saints were injured. After all, this was an attack on the level of a saint. Moreover, it was a joint attack of 12 saints. It was caused by the use of a powerful god's eye, the azure dragon under the other party's feet. These human experts had already divined that it was not an ordinary thing. It was probably the corpse of a dragon saint after he died. It contained mysterious power. I'll give you one last chance. Surrender or die. The primeval saint's expression was cold, and his eyes were filled with biting, cold, killing intent. He had lost his patience. These people didn't know what was good for them. Since these people dared to resist, he didn't mind completely annihilating them. After all, the 10,000 ancient races had plenty of slaves if they wanted. Humph! On the side of the human race, the 7 saints roared and attacked again. After an earth-shattering battle, they retreated again. This time, all 7 sages were injured, and one of them was almost killed. This caused everyone to be extremely terrified. Not only that, the Yi family patriarch, the Gu family patriarch, and the Queen Mother of the West were all injured. Yi Wudao and the other young geniuses were even more seriously injured. The powerhouses on the side of the human race were on the verge of death. Unless they used their so-called foundation to awaken the sleeping saints, they would have a chance of fighting. Otherwise, the human race would be completely wiped out. What a bunch of trash. We haven't even used our extreme weapons, and you're already on the verge of dying? Don't worry, we won't give you a chance to live. In this lifetime, you won't be able to wake up those sleeping saints. No, the Yi family patriarch roared towards the sky, his voice tearing. Could it be that they were really going to be destroyed here? They were the family of a great emperor. However, their foundation couldn't be revived. With their current strength, they couldn't compete with the nest of 10,000 dragons at all. The Gu family patriarch also roared. Damn it, despicable. What was this? If you have the ability, let us use our foundation and fight with all our strength. The nest of 10,000 dragons is no match for the Gu family at all. They were also a great emperor family and also had extreme weapons. But now they couldn't use them at all. How could they not feel aggrieved? In their opinion, if they used all their foundation, they could definitely contend against the nest of 10,000 dragons. And these 10,000 ancient races didn't dare to be arrogant in front of them. The Gu family? The void is indeed very powerful, but unfortunately you won't have the chance to use the things he left behind. Chapter 2854. Just you wait. Once I, the Dragon Prince, become the great emperor, I will confiscate all the treasures left behind by the remote antiquity families. Now you can all die. In the sky, the 12 sages formed hand seals again, and a vast aura flew out from their fingertips. This time, the attack was even more violent. The 12 sages attacked together, and it really had the power to destroy the world. Under this attack, the Jade Lake would probably be destroyed. It's over. Are we all going to die here? The sacred lords and patriarchs were filled with despair. The young disciples couldn't withstand the sage aura and were directly pressed to the ground. The Yi family sacred lord, the Gu family patriarch, and the other sages all had ugly expressions. They roared crazily, ready to attack regardless of everything. Among them, the 7 sages went crazy. They didn't care about anything and attacked together again. You want to die? I'll fulfill your wish. The primordial sages sneered and rushed into the sky to fight again. It's useless. Stop struggling. You can't resist. The remaining primordial kings sneered. They controlled the azure dragon skin and continued to attack. A terrifying aura was about to erupt. However, at this moment, the sky suddenly split open. Countless golden rays turned into sharp swords and cut the void in half. The azure dragon's movements were also interrupted. Boom! 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 The void trembled, and the light swept out like a tide, causing a huge crack to appear in the sky. Damn it! Who is it? At this moment, everyone looked up at the sky. The primordial kings roared. The primordial theocrats also frowned. The newcomer was so powerful and terrifying that he could block their attack. Who was it? Did one of the sages of the human race awaken? Damn it! How is this possible? They had already used the 10,000 dragon picture to seal everything. How could those sleeping sages awaken? The human race was also stunned. They had originally despaired and thought that they were going to die, but they didn't expect that at the last moment there would be a turn for the better. In the sky, a huge crack, 10,000 rays of light bloomed. Then a golden figure appeared in the void and slowly descended. Along with it came a powerful force that suppressed the surroundings. So strong! The moment this golden figure appeared, everyone trembled. The primordial kings, sacred lords, and patriarchs were also terrified. Who was this person? It was too terrifying. Who are you? An archaic king of the nest of 10,000 dragons shouted coldly, "I am the guardian of the human race. The human race cannot be bullied." The cold voice of the descending golden figure resounded throughout the land. Guardians of the human race. These words were like a clap of thunder that resounded in everyone's hearts. The 10,000 ancient races experts were stunned. The Jade Lake's cultivators' hearts were pounding wildly. Had their human race's experts appeared? Had he come to save them? The young disciples were trembling with excitement. However, the sacred leaders, sect masters, and grand elders were frowning, because the other side only had one person. Could they fight against the terrifying 10,000 ancient races? After all, even the combined forces of the energy reverend and the sage had been defeated. Even if the other party was a saint, there was nothing he could do. Unless the other party had special means to contend against the nest of 10,000 dragons and unlock the seal, reviving the heritage of the great sects of the Holy Land. Only then could they resist the 10,000 ancient races. When the 10,000 ancient races heard this, they were first stunned. Then they sneered in disdain. Guardians of the human race? Ha! What a joke! Do you think that you alone can protect the human race? That's right. Who do you think you are? How dare you be arrogant in front of the 10,000 ancient races? Hurry up and kneel down and accept your death. Your human race's time is up. Cold laughter rang out. Among them, a primordial king of the nest of 10,000 dragons walked out. And kneel down and accept your death. As he spoke, a dragon claw stretched out, covering the sky and covering the earth as it grabbed at the golden figure in front of it. It wanted to claw him until he exploded. This scene caused everyone to feel nervous. The golden figure in front didn't dodge. Instead, he raised a finger and pressed it forward. How dare he fight against the primordial king of the nest of 10,000 dragons? Moreover, he was fighting in close combat. He was courting death. Who did he think he was? Could his physique be stronger than the dragon races? Just wait, this guy will definitely be killed. The primordial king sneered. In their opinion, how could the other party be a match for the primordial king of the nest of 10,000 dragons? Uft! A golden finger was like a peerless divine sword. It was incomparably sharp and directly pierced through the dragon claw. It even pierced through the head of the primordial king of the nest of 10,000 dragons. With a bang, the head exploded. Blood mist filled the air as the corpse fell to the ground. What? This was impossible. Everyone was dumbfounded when they saw this scene. What was going on? The primordial king of the nest of 10,000 dragons was killed. He was killed with a single finger just like that. Even his soul couldn't escape. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. The martial artists on the human side were shocked. Those primordial kings felt their scalps go numb. Who exactly was this person? How could his methods be so powerful? Damn it! How dare you kill someone from the nest of 10,000 dragons? The primordial kings of the nest of 10,000 dragons were even more furious. They were the primordial royal family. They were high and mighty who dared to attack them. But now, someone actually killed one of their primordial kings so easily. Just an ant. How dare you be arrogant in front of me? Let your saints make a move. Today, I will tell you that the human race cannot be bullied. The golden figure said coldly. He was Lin Xian, who had rushed over from the Black Demon Cliff. After Lin Xian fused with the Nine Sun Sword Saint's great success divine body, his strength had undergone an earth-shattering change. He left the Black Demon Cliff, killed a few primordial kings, and rushed directly towards the Jade Pool. Finally, at the last moment, he arrived. Damn it, go, kill him! And primordial king of the nest of 10,000 dragons roared. At this moment, a total of 4 primordial kings charged forward. 2 primordial kings of the nest of 10,000 dragons, one from the divine Phoenix Ridge, and the other from the Fire Chelan Cave. These 4 primordial kings were all primordial kings of the primordial royal family. Their strength was incomparably terrifying, and they possessed the bloodline of the Emperor clan. At this moment, they attacked crazily. It's over, that guy is in danger. The martial artists on the human side all became nervous. After all, they were primordial kings of the royal family, making everyone's scalps go numb. Even the Queen Mother of the West, the Yi family, and the Gu family's patriarchs were the same. Lin Xian looked at the 4 primordial kings who had just arrived, and the corners of his mouth curled up into a sneer. His eyes were incomparably resplendent. Killing intent suddenly erupted from his body. Another punch was thrown out, transforming into 10 suns that directly blasted forward. Boom! 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 Before the 4 primordial kings could get close, their bodies exploded in midair, torn into pieces, and blood splattered everywhere. Dead, dead again. Those primordial creatures widened their eyes in disbelief. They screamed crazily. Damn it, I don't believe it. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.